Okay. Like stream is going. Oh, here. Put this over there and back. There you go. All right. So we're back with another keyboard stream. This time we're bringing back. Yes, go back down here. Bringing back the Cherry MX Browns because a lot of people, at least back in the day when I was getting into the keyboard hobby, saying that, oh, it doesn't feel that great because you can barely feel the tactile bump. And at the time, I do agree with them, and I think they are, relatively speaking, right. Because right now, I can feel that tactile bump, but when I click fast, it doesn't feel like it's there. It feels much more scratchy than anything. So, we are going to replace the switches in my NK65 with Cherry MX Browns. I believe these are the, if I'm not mistaken, the glorious pandas in them. Alright. So we're just going to be switch swapping today. Alright. And we'll be giving that a shot in a second. Let me bring up monkey type as well. So that way we can test the glorious pandas real quick. And that is a car behind me. That has been happening way too often recently. Monkey type. There we go. All right, so let's give it a test to get a baseline of what that keyboard can do. And we're gonna grab this one here. Okay. And right, let's move this aside. Put this to the test. So, whoa, what just happened? Something happened. All right, there we go. All right. So here we are with the NK65 with the GMK Civilization keycaps with a somewhat modded, I do have to mention that actually, somewhat modded novel keys. This is actually a not foam, cotton bottom. In other words, it's filled with cotton. Normally it's filled with silicone instead of cotton, so it will sound a little different in comparison to before. There you go. Oh, I forgot the music. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Nope, I don't want that. Let's start with... Sure. That one. Does this work? There you go. Maybe I should put my headphones on instead of using the speaker, honestly, for that. Okay, so yeah, that is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be testing out the good old Cherry MX Browns to see how bad they are compared to even gaming switches today. Yeah, so again, this is the NK65 using the... What was it called? The glorious... Oh my god. Why is this like this? Why are you like this? Let me make this nice. I cannot make this nice. Why can I not make this nice? There you go. Arranging cables that don't really matter in terms of usability. But, yes. So, again, be testing on the NK65. These are the glorious pandas with the GMK Civilization keycaps. The glorious pandas are lube. I did hand lube them myself. We did that on stream a couple weeks ago, I believe. So, should sound pretty good. But what we're going to be doing for now, we're going to start with just a regular sound test. And, oh, why is that not working? Oh, that is working. Okay. Just a regular sound test with regular English for 30 seconds. So we'll see if we can hit at least 75 words per minute. That is my main goal, if we can keep a consistent 75 words per minute in random word. But we're also going to do quotes as well in a bit. So let's go do this first. I mean, I guess, I guess I hit my 75 words per minute. Alright. Yeah, so I hit 75 words per minute with a peak of around 120 words per minute. Terribly low accuracy. Hoping to get that to 95 at one point, but seems to not be the case. Alright. Okay, let us move to quote, because we already hit the 75 words per minute. That should be fine. And we'll see if we can hit 75 words per minute in regular quotes on regular English. And then we'll talk about the quotes a little bit as well. All right, so again, I guess you guys can hear the clicks. Come on. Here. All right. Again, this is the NK65 with Glorious Panda switches and the GMK Civilizations keycaps. And again, the NK65 is not in its stock configuration. I did put a cotton bottom, so there is a lining of cotton on the bottom, and there is no mid silicone plate. All right. Okay, so let's go here. Hey, nope. No, I was stuttering in a couple words there, but looks like we got 67 words per minute with a decent accuracy. Still not above the 95 that I do want personally, but I guess we can talk about the code. Oh, right. My highest raw burst seems to be at 112 words per minute. Yeah, really bad start there with paranoia. Kind of a funky word to start with, honestly, but here we are. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Some music in the background, of course. Can't have no music in the background. Alright, so paranoia is a survival trait when you run in my circles. It gives you something to do in your spare time, coming up with solutions to ridiculous problems that aren't ever going to happen. Except when one of them does, at which point you feel way too vindicated. Okay, yes, this is a problem I have as well. I haven't exactly solved this problem, but effectively, I do believe that everything is gonna go burning down. I believe that my entire life is gonna come crashing down tomorrow. I go to sleep, I wake up in the morning, and it's gone, kind of thing. But a lot of the times, yeah, paranoia, survival trait. Is a survival trait, and I think this is normal with a lot of humans. Not that I'm not human myself, but let's just say I am. It's a survival trait when you run in my circles, and for this person or this quote, it's where it feels like everything has a problem. It gives you something to do in your spare time, you know, which is, yes, we all had that, the feeling of, oh, lying down in bed, couldn't get to sleep, thinking, oh, what if this happens? And a lot of times it's saying, oh, if I do this, what'll happen is, oh, my parents will kill me, let's say. Or that if I failed in this very specific job, everything will come crashing down and I won't get the job, or I get fired. But sometimes that doesn't actually happen. And a lot of things a lot of people worry about is, you know, a ridiculous problem that isn't ever going to happen, as you can see in the quote here. But well, I guess I can go a little closer. No, do I cut it off? It does. I do cut it off. So unfortunately, I can't go any closer. I might actually bring this a little bigger. Let me see. I can make this slightly bigger. Yeah, slightly bigger. Not too big. There we go. And oh, there. Slightly bigger. Okay. But yeah, coming up with solutions is a lot of fun. And I've said this before with, for example, deck building in Pokemon, where you find a lot of problems to solve, and a lot of the time you don't even face those problems. I have a friend that actually, we would go to tournaments in Pokemon, and he'd make this really good meta deck. It's meta, so it does work, and it's not the worst thing, but every time, because of, you know, a lot of worry that, oh yeah, I'm gonna face this deck. This deck is gonna definitely be in the tournament. This is gonna be there. And when I face this, it's gonna be a big problem. So I don't wanna not have this very specific card, which ends up screwing him over more times. Yeah, more times than none. Because what happens is he swaps this one card out. It makes his deck less consistent. So he's less consistent. He doesn't actually get to, how do I say it, use that card, because he never actually faces the problem he expects to face. And it could be that he actually doesn't know if that's actually gonna happen. It's more that he believes it'll happen more than it actually happening. That's the difference. And even if it is a problem at some point, there's no point fixing for that problem right now when it's going to happen, and it's going to happen later and is unlikely to happen now. In other words, he's solving for a problem that doesn't quite exist quite yet. So it is one of those things. Except, of course, when one of them does, as we check the quote here, except when one of them does, at which point you feel way too vindicated. Yes, that is definitely a thing. You just go, I knew it! I totally knew it! It's gonna be a thing! And then you solve it, even though it was the most unlikely thing to actually ever happen. So there is that. Okay, so we're done with that. We're gonna move along with changing out those glorious pandas with Cherry MX Browns. So take that. It's over here. What are you caught on? There you go. All right, pull this out. There you go. I feel that this is not balanced enough. I don't like how uneven that is. Okay, that looks relatively balanced. Yeah, looks like it's the same. Maybe we'll do a little bit of tuning up here. Let's make that a little smaller. Let's crop the bottom a little bit more. Go. I say crop the bottom, but effectively all I'm doing is zooming in. Oh, there you guys go. And a little closer there. Boom. Now it makes sense. So you can see the top, you can see the bottom, and the quote is easily readable. There we go. That works out. Okay, so we're gonna be taking these off. Where is my keycap puller? I'll worry about it when it gets to that point. We literally just talk about a quote regarding that. So yes. Okay. The question is, do I want to keep the GMK civilization? Because GMK civilization, as you can kind of see over here, it does quite look similar to the Switch that's inside, which is the Glorious Pandas. Yeah, no, I lied to myself. I need it to be a slightly bit smaller. Slight bit smaller. Slightly, just slightly. Slightly smaller. There you go. That makes more sense. Alright. We're gonna put that there. Actually, the box. And is what we're going to do is we're gonna be switching from this to the glorious GPBT Rainforest for the NK65 for the Cherry MX Browns. Should be a similar profile to begin with, so it shouldn't be too bad. But let's return Civilizations into the box. Oh, box for Civilizations. We're gonna put this aside. Gonna open this up. Come on. GMK Civilization. Let's see. Alright. Sometimes I hate these GMK boxes completely because it's a little too much, honestly. A little too much. There you go. That on the side. Okay. Put the escape key here. I think that is the F-row. The F-row's on my GMK Pro, right up there. Yeah. Just like that. That makes sense. Okay. But yes, paranoia. How's everybody doing today? I don't think I've put out notifications at all. I do believe... Yeah, no, I don't think I've put out any notifications currently. So, there might not be many people, if any people at all in chat. But, you know, gotta keep people entertained as they come in. So, I shall keep going. Yeah, in the hobby, a lot of people say, "Oh my God, Cherry MX Browns, they're horrible. Why would you go with those? Are way better Switches." And that's why at the time I bought the Zeal Switches. I haven't had something like the very fabled Holy Pandas. But now that I have the closest equivalent that I have access to, which is the... what's it called? The Glorious Pandas? Gaming company, unfortunately. Or unfortunately, depending on how you see it. Where they actually copied, or from what I know of it, when I did a little bit of research and digging for it, they apparently purchased the molds for the original Invir Pandas. Therefore, they were able to get the specific bump that the Invir Pandas had. Not only that, apparently they had also the specific custom recipe for the Switch stem. So, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, how do you know that? How do you have that?" And I don't know if they've showed receipts, but that was a hot topic back in the day where they were like, "Oh no, that's definitely the real one because you couldn't show your receipts." But other than that, you'd have to actually delve deep into the keyboard or the Switch lore just to find out exactly what happened to this very specific, what's it called? Yeah, this very specific Switch. But in the end of the day, a lot of consumers, they don't entirely care about whether it came from where, if it's the original, if it is what it is. Even with AI nowadays, people don't even understand that a lot of the things that even the newer or old school creators do, they are putting AI into their workflow. Why? Because if you don't use it, you're gonna get left behind just because of the sheer output or efficiency you can actually gain by using these types of this type of technology. It's not that that technology is bad, but what is this? Oh, this page now. It's just that a lot of people don't understand it's the use of the technology that matters, not the actual technology itself. For example, fire is used to cook. You could also burn a house down, but I wouldn't suggest it. You know what I mean? So it depends on how you use it. If you misuse any technology, it becomes something really horrible. I don't think people should be misusing technology. And even nowadays, people are giving children tablets. They just stick them with a tablet. The kid shuts up just because there's a big shiny thing in front of them on the screen, with a lot of colors. They're highly stimulated by that, and they come from 0 to 100 real quick. It's a little concerning, honestly, because the children now, I think I forgot who. I think it's Pirate Software or whatnot who mentioned it, where they were doing a playtest with a bunch of kids, and the kids didn't even know what it was. They thought to control the screen or to do anything on the screen, they had to touch the screen. So they pushed away the controller and just started pressing the screen. And the developers were a little shocked, thinking, oh no, the game that we made was specifically made for controller. And sure, there are keyboard and mouse binds for it, but that was not the original intention, which ends up being a little scary. I don't think in the future it'll be very much like the save button. Do you know if if anyone knows the save button? It's a big floppy disk, and now we're hitting the same problem where the old generation knows exactly what it is and how it was used, and the new generation has no clue. They don't even know it's a thing. You know? It's scary, honestly, where you would think, oh yeah, that's just what it is. It's a save button, aka a floppy disk. They don't know that anymore. Kids these days go, that's the save button. That is not a floppy disk. That is the save button. And now, keyboard and mouse means computer, and controller means console. Completely different things. And it's concerning, but it's a different thing entirely. We're gonna not talk about that too much. But yes, alright, so we've taken that out, and we can put this aside temporarily as I search for my, well, food, I guess. I don't know. For my keycap pull. Oh, there. Key puller. There you go. I knew I had it with me. Yeah, always keep everything organized in a bag. Alright. I have no extra. I keep telling this to myself, and I do have easy access to an IKEA, and those are IKEA Scadis pegboards behind me. But here's the thing, I keep forgetting I have to buy more of these containers, because these are nice containers. You can see them quite clearly. I can look at the board and go, yes, those are the Cherry MX Blues. Those are the Kale Bronze. Those are the Kale Coppers. Those are the unlubed switches from all the other switches that I actually own. Those are more bronze. Wait, do I have double bronze? Yeah, I have two bins of bronze. I might take those, honestly, because I believe the bronze were clickies, and then the coppers were... yeah, the coppers were tactile, so they are the speed version of Cherry MX Browns, which is a different thing. Where else? And we have the 62 gram Zeal switches. We have the 78 gram. We have the 65 gram Zeal switches as well. So we'll be going through those after time goes on. Yeah. Okay, but right now I think I'm going to remove the Helios switches. Yeah, let's get the Helios switches. I really have to untwist the wire. There we go. Untwist the wire as I grab the Helios switches. Helios switches. There you go. So dump those out. I really need to find a... I need to really buy those containers. Maybe in the next couple of days, because I think I'll be passing by an IKEA either tomorrow or the next week. So until then, we're gonna just have to deal with this not having its own case, unfortunately. Yeah, so we're gonna do that for now, and we're gonna pull things out. Yeah, so like I said, I guess I can tear this apart for you guys as well while we're at it. I do have this slightly modded. We might bring this back to stock configuration just to test it out in its stock form. Yeah. But yeah, no, these are the Glorious Panda switches. They really like to call to attention to themselves. As you heard in the sound test, it's very loud in comparison to something like the Cherry MX Browns. But we're gonna give these Cherry MX Browns a decent test. So we're gonna go through it with this configuration. We're gonna take them back out, and then we're gonna go through the silicone padding for this as well, and see where that takes us. Because the silicone padding makes things sound a little more solid, and I think I like this specific configuration with the Cherry MX Pandas, not Cherry MX Pandas, the Glorious Pandas, simply because they are a solid sounding and feeling switch. They have a nice poppiness to them in comparison to the Cherry MX Browns, but it has been quite a long time since I've actually touched the Cherry MX Browns, which is why I'm going through them today. We're gonna go through a couple combinations and see if it makes any difference, and then tomorrow we're going to be lubing them, and we might be going through the same combinations, which is going to be a little different by itself. Alright, but yes, she's going through the novel keys, NK65 PCB version 1.4. So this has gone probably through 4 different iterations already, because I'm pretty sure whatever version came out was version 1 versus an older version. Multiple ways to do things. Multiple ways to do things. So, come on. There we go. I really think there should be a better way to do this. Because this switch puller, I don't hate it, but I don't... Oh. Did I? Yeah, this is unloop, isn't it? This is unloop, isn't it? Yeah, this is unloop. Keep hitting this problem. I need the unloop stuff to stay unlooped and the loop stuff to stay looped. So I know these are looped for sure. It's just, I think the arrow keys. I've dedicated the arrow keys to stay unlubed. That way I at least have a small sample of switches that are not lubed. So I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to put them in the unlubed box. Unlubed. Have a bunch of them here. There you go. Then there will be Cherry MX Browns in there at one point. There you go. Oh jeez. Sliding across the entire place. Alright. Ta-da! Cherry MX. Novel keys. Alright. Time to touch grass and clean. There is the garbage right there, guys. Okay. Oh. Quickly. I think these will be fine. Yeah, these are only 3-pin actually. One of the things that I didn't know before was the difference between 5-pin and 3-pin. So here's the difference between the two. I guess you can see it here. There you go. It's more visible this way, I guess. Okay. I guess not with this very specific switch. But you can see on the Cherry MX Brown here, there is 1 and 2 pins. And here's the knob for the center shaft, I guess. Central shaft. So that's 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, on the Helios switches... was it Helios? Oh, this is a Helios. The Helios switches that I have here, they are 5-pin. So there is 2 shafts onto the left and right. There you go. 2 shafts on the left and right. And then those same 3 pins. So it says 3, 4, 5. So that's a 5-pin. And these are technically compatible with 3-pin models or models without. If you look at the PCB on this one, you can see holes onto the side. And that's the difference. So you can put them in. For example, old gaming keyboards, a lot of them are only 3-pin. So back in the day when I was doing all of this, I actually had to clip those extra legs. Yeah, those little extra nubs. You just clip those, and then you can turn them into 3-pins. And honestly, I think 5-pin is kind of better because there's something to hold on to and latch onto. That way, it's a lot more stable in comparison. Yeah, that's the difference. It's a lot more stable in comparison. But in terms of usability, I don't think there's much of a difference going from 5-pin to 3-pin. Oh, let's move this away. All right. That's yeah. It's been 30 minutes, guys. I think I got myself a little small break. Let's eat some of that. Uh-oh. This is why you shouldn't be eating near your desk, guys. Things fall everywhere. And also there's the same reason why you want to be cleaning your keyboard at least, I would say, once every 3 months. Just go take apart your keycaps, do it properly, lay them all out if you have the space, especially lay them all out as you take them out. That way when you try to reference it, you can just put them right back. You'll be wasting a lot more time. Oh my god. Let me put this to the side. You'd be wasting a lot more time trying to figure out which keycap goes where than trying to arrange them as you remove them. So when you are removing your keycaps, try to make sure they are arranged because you will be putting them right back on. Especially if you only have one set like I used to have. I used to have just one set. I just took everything off and I realized I haven't had the keys memorized other than WASD and the numero. And then all the other keys, I was like, oh, this is F, Z, I. Which comes first? I, O, or U? You know? And one of the phrases I've actually learned to remember that, it's UIO. So it starts with U, next is I and O. So it's UIO. That's like a sentence that makes sense in my brain. Therefore, you can actually use it to remember exactly what you're doing. And that's the difference, right? So you put this down here, down there. And the problem I have is remembering the bottom left corner here. It's like a Z. I know it's Z. Is it XC or CX? And a lot of the times when people ask questions like that, if you haven't noticed, a lot of people start doubting themselves. They go, oh, it's CX. And I go, are you sure? Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's CX. And then they look at a regular keyboard and they're like, no, it's XC. It's XC. Just a little bit of doubt. It's all it takes. Just a little bit of doubt, and all of a sudden you question everything. Everything is wrong. Everything doesn't make sense. It just is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, that is one of those things. Boop. More and more and more. Okay. I guess that I can use this technique on this board as well. Just use 2 hands. Just push them in. Should be able to. It doesn't look like I am getting stuck. I don't think I'm bending any pins. So it should be fine. And I should be able to finish this quite quickly. I'm going to do this. Going to do another typing test. And then we're going to take this apart, the NK65, and put in the original items. I don't have them prepped, but I think this is not going to sound as solid as I want them to. So yeah, it's already sounding relatively thin, as you can hear. There you go. Up. Something's happening. What's going on? There we go. All right. What else am I doing here? Okay. There you go. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Alright. But yes, here's your code, guys. So where was I? Yeah, Cherry MX Browns. And I think these sound a little too thin in this board, in this very specific configuration. I thought the pandas didn't seem quite as nice when they were in a really solid board. They sound a little obnoxious and a little too high-pitched. Putting them in a lower pitch version is nicer for me, personally. That way it doesn't call too much attention to itself. It doesn't sound kind of like a clicky. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Alright. So moving in here. But yes, I think the Cherry MX Browns would actually do way better if it wasn't a board. I feel like I squished the pin there. I did not squish a pin. Then, weird. Okay. That just felt like I squished the pin. And it doesn't want to go back in. Right. Okay. I love these cables, but every time I bend over, it actually catches on my table just because it's not rounded. I really wish it was rounded. These are Periap cables, and they're really, really nice cables. They are very, very flexible. And I really like them because they feel light despite being a heavy-duty cable. Just because of how flexible they are. You know? They don't kink as badly. So yeah, that's one of the things. I definitely would rather have these higher quality cables. But the problem with Periap cables, and they're now in Canada, the Headphone Bar actually sells them now, which is like, oh my god, finally! I can just buy them without paying stupid amounts of shipping fees. Because Canada. And this is my only gripe with them. This connector. If this section was on the other end, I like that better, honestly. I like that better. If this section here, or if both ends were rounded off or tapered. And I believe this item is 3D printed, so they can actually create a different one. And I would rather them have a tapered version. That's what I'd rather have. Okay. But yeah, so what we're going to be doing today is testing out Cherry MX switches. The good old... Uh-oh. But that does happen once in a while. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's relatively hard to see, but one of it is slightly bent outwards. There we go. Let's pull this to the correct. Normally, I don't think you're supposed to be using a switch puller for this, but whatever, I suppose. Hold on, let me just reply to a message real quick, guys. Something went wrong. Yes, as usual. People go wrong. There we go. Alright. But yes, it's one of those things where, yeah, if it gets bent, you can just bend them back. But there is, of course, because it is metal, if you just keep bending it back and forth, it will just break off. So at one point, you're just gonna throw the switch away. For example, this one. I don't know if you can see that. A little better. There. As you can see, it looks like it got bent. So we're gonna just bend them back real slowly. That way we're not breaking anything. And then we should be able to put them in quite easily. There you go. But even like a bend like that isn't too bad. Those are easily fixable. But this is also why I always suggest buying more if you can. Don't buy exactly the amount of switches that you need if you are planning to replace your switches. Because they will, 100%, they will they will break at one point. And if it happens to break while you're getting them replaced, there are a few things that you can do, especially if you have exactly the amount of switches you have. You can go with keys such as pipe. If you don't know what keys is pipe, it's that weird one next to if you have the regular, I say regular, but I think it's ANSI layout keyboard. It's gonna be this key that's over here. So this is gonna be the enter key, and this is gonna be pipe. And these two are bracket. Those keys people don't really use. Same with the home cluster, you know, home, page up, page down. Not a lot of people use those keys. So you can either skip those keys entirely, or they don't get used at all, or if not often enough, that putting a key that doesn't work there is not or a switch that doesn't work there, not a bad idea. So if you do break one, that is something that you can actually do. All right, now for the keycaps as well. Okay. And where did I put them? There you are. Okay, so today NK65, a modded NK65. I have way too many Cherry MX Browns. These Cherry MX Browns actually are a terribly old batch from I think 2017. So I don't have the new Cherry MX X2s, I think they're called. They have the X2 switches now, and apparently they're much better, they're much cleaner. They have a different, what's it called? A slightly different design on the internals, but they still have the same Cherry MX stem. And I think I should be able to buy them at one point, but right now funds are a little low, so I'm using a lot of stuff that is from way back when. And this just happens to be one of them. Good old 2017 Cherry MX Browns. There you go. All right, so we're gonna replace them with, oh right, I forgot to talk about this a little bit. This is also from Glorious, same with these switches. These are the Glorious Pandas previously, and then now we have Cherry MX Browns, and we're gonna be using their GPBT Premium PBT keycaps. But yes, it just depends on which type of materials they use and the combination of plastics that they fuse together. It's kind of like alloys except in plastic, because alloys imply that it's some sort of metal. Meanwhile, it's not metal. It is, how do you say it? Well, it's not metal. Oh, come on. Open! There we go. Alright, so we're gonna go with put these in. And then we can do another sound test for the Cherry MX Browns on the NK65. But looks like we're gonna go back in after a while to change into the regular configuration, because just going by how this is sounding without the keycaps, they sound a little high-pitched and a little thin. Yeah, they sound a little hollow. They're a little high-pitched. I think these will be better if you had a more solid board or lube them. Yeah. They aren't pingy though, I'll give them that. Not a lot of the newer springs are not pingy without having them lubed. So that's the difference. So a lot of the times, getting them lubed drops the pitch quite a bit. Therefore, that's some of the things you kind of want to do. Let's not do the home row just yet. We're gonna start with just these guys first. There we go. Pretty, and then the ASDF guys. Okay, this seems a little off. Oh. Okay, is that just me, or does the W look a little off? Might just be me. In real life, it feels like it's sticking out and is tilted a little bit up. I think it is. It might be, but I don't think it's gonna matter once I put all the rest of the keys in. So we're gonna put the rest of the keys in first, and then we're gonna check it out there are some inconsistencies with, of course, highly manufactured batches of switches, with good enough QA, and I don't think they go through the same QA as some of the newer, not newer, how do you say it? One of the more quote-unquote boutique switches, because with boutique switches, they want it to be a very specific theme in a very specific way. Therefore, they end up going very, very high on the quality aspect. And a lot of these copycats that you see online, they just make sure it's within the same ballpark versus actually being a very specific color, being a very specific shape, for especially with the legends and whatnot. So yeah. One of these days, I'm going to use... What's it called? Oh, here's the switches I was... sorry. The legends I was talking about. These are called bracket. I don't know what the ones on top are, but they are called bracket. And these are one of the keys on a keyboard that 90% of people don't use. It's very much kind of like a coding thing or a math thing. So unless you're putting or inputting some sort of math, it's almost never used. That's the difference. There you go. So yeah, that is one of those things where you're going to have to go through if you break a switch. But that's only if you break a switch. But if you don't break switches, that's fine. And I think that, yeah. And if, a great tip, if you have really pingy. Yeah, see? The old... That's a ping test that I normally do. If I do this and I hear just a bunch of ping noises, that means that specific switch is just pingy in general. Nothing to do with... right? No, that's enter. Oh yeah, because they call it ascend. Oh my god. The ascend key. Oh my god. You do not enter, Glorious. You ascend, Glorious. Like, really? Okay, yeah. Like I said, Glorious has this thing where they arrange the keys as a full-size keyboard from left to right. And you go from box 1 through to box 2, 3, and 4 as you go along each row of keys. That's a great thing in theory. However, in practice, especially when you get 65% or 75% board, which they have, which is this guy over there, 75% board, sometimes it doesn't make sense. So I really think, because you can fit it, for example, a 65 right there, or a 60% keyboard, you can just, as you can see, it lines up with being a 60% keyboard. So just make the top area the 60%, which is gonna be for the most part the same thing, and then the rest of the extra keys. But this is beginner friendly. This is highly beginner friendly in comparison to a lot of the other keycaps. But of course, you have the boutique builders, which creates, of course, like earlier we were on GMK Civilization. I guess I'll show you the top here. Civilization. Civilizations. Apparently there's an S on that board, but it's just laid out for you. In comparison to what Glorious did. The difference is the packaging. Like, you can see that versus this as a packaging, and then having them stacked. I think in terms of packaging, it's smaller. You can put them on shelves. It doesn't take so much space that it's crazy. But honestly, if you are going into a really good keyboard shop, I think it would be one of those things that feels much better to have in that very specific way. Okay. Hey Cray, how are you? How's things? Welcome to the stream. Alright, open this up. Okay, so we are missing a couple keys. Oh, we're not missing a couple keys. Those are the right keys. I thought those weren't the right keys for a moment. Oh my god. Oh, I thought I would have to redo the music because I wasn't hearing anything. But yes, still on the chill music, nothing crazy. I might move to backing track in terms of if I want rock music. Yeah, that might be for the game stream, guys. That way it's a little different. Oh no, I don't need this shift key. I need the other shift key, which is going to be on this one. This is their version for the 65% and the 75%. That's one of the other things about the whole glorious thing. Yeah, the whole glorious keyboards part. It's not the worst, it's not the best, but it is one of those things that they allow, or they have, because they make 75%. They also do expect to have odd layouts. Unlike, for example, Corsair, Logitech, they don't have those extra keys that would allow you to go, oh yeah, I need that very specific extra key so that I can type properly. Still looking for work from home non-voice jobs. Have you figured out how to improve the game streams yet? I actually haven't really, because the problem is I think I should just lower the settings in game and in the transcoding. Although I don't know if it's the internet. I don't believe it's in the internet, but I don't actually know. And that's kind of the problem that I have. Yeah. So it's one or the other. I think with the game streams, it is something to do with either the bitrate, which I don't think it should be the problem because I have a relatively high bitrate. But at the same time, I think it's more the decoding. I think I have to go into the slower decoding settings so that it would be able to catch up. Alright, so let's say we'll put delete up here. Okay, page up and page down. I don't like how this is arranged. Page up, page down, and end. We'll put the end at the end. Yeah, and then page down in the middle. Oh, that looks nice! Oh, the color theme kind of matches. I don't know, it kind of looks white on the stream, but that is a nice green. It almost matches. Honestly, I might want to keep the keyboard this way. This is not bad. I don't hate it. Alright. Actually, that's the left shift. No, the left shift is longer on the right hand side. Yeah, unfortunate. I wish they had just this color. I like this darker color. In general, this is one of my favorite colors, this darker green. This one, the middle color matches more, this is darker than the NK65 Super User Edition's lines for Super User. The right hand side seems to be matching almost perfectly, though, as you can see here. I don't know, I do like it. Alright, time to test the keyboard sound-wise and see where we're at. Oh no. Okay. They do give you a keycap puller for those who are trying to swap their keycaps if they want to make their keycaps feel or look nicer at the very least. Preliminary test. I don't hate it. But yeah, no, that feels like a linear. If you're just if you're typing in a relaxed fashion, yeah, you definitely feel it. It's not that bad, but the moment you start striking keys, it's horrible. I don't think it's the internet on my end, because when I stream it to you directly on Discord, it's fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's 720p. If you haven't noticed, I'm streaming on a technical 1440p. So I don't know. It might be that. It might be because it's 720. And I honestly, I don't know if you can down sample the streams. I don't think you can. But, it's just one of those few things that you kind of have to live, you learn. Okay. Bunch of greens, bunch of stuff. All right, let's start with quotes. Nah, let's start with time. Let's start with a quote. We'll do time and we'll go back to quote. All right? Okay. We'll do quote first. We're gonna make this a little quiet. All right. Not a fan of that bottom left side. The darker green with those three. Oh, this one? Here? Yeah, no, the darker with those three. I just decided to put them there because it's this color actually. With this right inside, they actually have. Oh, I screwed something up. Let me put some music while we're at it. Where is it? Which one is it? Oh, there they are. Here they are. These three. Actually, it goes over there. It's actually those three keys. Do you really want that? Also, if you get anything lower than 75 words per minute, I suck. Hey, look, okay, not everyone can be talented in learning how to type as fast as you do, okay? Alright, so for those out there, alright, if you think, oh my god, I'm lower than 50 words per minute, and it takes me months to even learn, this person, alright, Cray, this person took 2 weeks to go from 45 to 60 plus, and literally 3 days to go from 65 to 75 plus. She's now at 85. Okay? So if you think you suck, you're right. But at the same time, some people are just talented. They can just do it. So don't worry about that and start working on yourselves. Don't don't worry about them. Because their talent is their talent and they'll keep getting better just because they have the talent to be able to do it quite quickly. Oh my god. Jesus. If you get lower than 25. Just for you, I'm gonna keep that there. I'm just gonna keep that there, okay? I'm not gonna complete it. I'm not gonna complete it with the dark keycaps, okay? No, they will be there, okay? As a reminder. Oh my god. Alright. Jesus. Okay. Oh my god. Alright, let's see if we can hit 75 words per minute. Honey Boo Boo. Oh my god. Jesus. Alright. Alright. Oh. I'm nervous now. Let's go. I don't suck. Take that, Cray. Oh my gosh. 75. Yeah. 0.01. No way. There you go. 75.01. Oh my god. There you go. Okay, let's talk about this quote. Oh, Satini? Damn, I made a mistake. Alright, let's talk about this quote a little bit. Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. Well, see, sometimes you need the motivation. Alright, fine. Thanks, Cray. Alright. Yeah, in terms of this quote, alright, why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. I think I was talking about this to a friend yesterday. They were doing a lot of questionable things and they were kind of complaining about it. And it frustrates me to see them making those very specific mistakes, and they like to complain how, oh my god, so many people don't learn from their mistakes, and they end up not learning from their mistakes either. And believe me, I'm also one of those types of people who don't learn from their mistakes because I seem to make the same mistakes repeatedly, and it takes a long while before that actually happens. So Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting. All right. Yeah. And honestly, if you're trying to do something fun and exciting, a lot of people, let's say for example the internet or your peer group, they make they make decisions, or they think because they want to be part of the culture, the part of the norm that they are engrossed with. They want to be part of that society, so to speak, that they try to downplay anything that isn't part of that norm. I know that there are people out there who go, "Oh my God, you're trying to do this thing. It's only nerds do that." For example, anime is one of them, and I think VTubing is one of them. Oh, you're just going off of everyone else, and yeah, no, it is one of those things where yeah, a lot of people have similar ideas, and there is this concept called convergence of ideas, or inevitable inception, or something like that. There is an idea where the idea would have existed eventually. For example, I think there were multiple inventions. One happened in Germany and one happened in the US, and one of it happened in Canada, where it's the same invention across the board, slight variances in how it was made, but it's exactly the same invention. Whether that be, let's say, I think it was a mechanical, some sort of mechanical thing. Oh shoot, your crush is streaming. Gotta check it out for a bit. All right. See you a little bit there, okay. Um, but effectively, a lot of people end up going, "Oh, you're just joining the bandwagon now." That it's a thing that is useful instead of just enjoyable to a very certain culture of people. For example, computers. Right, computers. Computers were a thing. Was a thing for a long time, and now, even now, computers are no longer really a thing. It's more, oh hey, you use it for work. You can use it for entertainment as well, whether that be gaming and whatnot. But if you want to play games, you go buy a console. You get the newest Nintendo Switch. You get the RG Steam Deck. You get the PlayStation. You get the Xbox. If you want to play games, it's cheaper. And if that's all you want, you just want to play games, then go ahead, just play the game, and that's fine. You don't have to have a computer for that. But with this, or for not with this, with a computer, you can do so many things, and a lot of people nowadays associate having a computer with using it for work, and that is the thing. Back in the day, that was a very work centric thing, and after I think 2010s and newer, that's when it started becoming a thing of, oh my god, you can play a lot of games on it. And I think that was a time when Crisis was coming out. You want to be able to play Crisis, play other games, and now we're back to mobile phones. It's not hip and cool to have a high end computer. It's more, oh, I have a mobile phone. And if you're rich, you have a high end computer. You just need a computer that can play games. If you need that, I think it's about the same price as a phone to be able to have a computer that can play games. And if you just want to play indie games or just have the ability to run them, not have them in the highest graphical settings and all that, but just be able to play them, you can go for the bare minimum, and that's fine because the whole point is to be able to enjoy the game. And if you haven't seen anything, because I know the newer phones right now, they have a 120 hertz screen, and that's included with the phone. The computer comes with just the computer. You don't even have a monitor, you do not have a keyboard, you do not have a mouse. For example, this is the NK65. This is what you call an enthusiast level keyboard, entry level. This is called the entry edition. This costs more money than normal, that you would normally think for a keyboard. A lot of people associate 20, 30, $40 with a keyboard. This is more than 100 on a technicality. And it's just a keyboard. It does nothing more than be a keyboard. It looks nice. I'll give it that. It looks very nice. I like it. But it's an aesthetic upgrade. $100 or $50 extra dollars or double the price of a regular keyboard for an aesthetic upgrade. Meanwhile, you have specialized gaming mice like this, which is the Model D wireless. It's wireless now. A lot of people still believe I think I have a couple friends that still believe that the Model D wireless or wireless mice are slower than wired mice. Meanwhile, all of the wired mice are either the same or slower than their wireless counterparts. I don't know how that happens. I don't know why that happens. But I think they are putting a lot more research into how those little dongles work to be able to have a better connection and have better latency. Meanwhile, this is no more than a regular mouse. The only thing that this does differently is it has 1,000 Hz polling rate. But the software isn't that good either. I have reviews on it on my channel, but as you can see, this is 2 buttons on the side, 1 button on the top, which is a DPI button. I actually have that changed because I like bringing the best out of my tech as much as possible whenever I can. I turned this into a play pause button, so I can just play pause media, especially when I'm in the middle of a game and all of a sudden I want things to be quiet. I wanna find if there are footsteps in the background, so I hit the pause button and I go, oh, is there someone there? And that's very useful. Just having it as a play pause button, I could be listening to rock music and I'm like, wait, was there a footstep in the middle of that drum beat or was that the drum beat? So I do that. But there are mice that are like I put this away because G900. This is older. This is an older mouse than this, the Model D wireless, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different buttons. And you might notice this is a scroll wheel, but it doesn't have a left and right tilt. This has extra buttons. There's 2 extra buttons in this scroll wheel. There's left and right tilt on this. Make sure this is off on this mouse. You see those weird little, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there you go. These weird little arrows on it. It just indicates that this scroll wheel has left and right. There's an extra function where you can go, that's still spinning, guys. See, you can have it just spin infinitely. So this is a very old mouse. A very old mouse. Oh, and I have a Volta cable adapter for it. A very old mouse. It works fine, and honestly, I learned the skill on how to aim regardless of which mouse I use. So I can swap from this mouse, which is over 100 grams, to this mouse, which is I think 60 grams, and I'd be fine regardless. Oh, it has an issue where when I slam it, it actually clicks the right mouse button. But that'll be on the review when I review it. The Model O didn't have the same issue. Okay. Oh, hey, great. Back now downloading the finals. Oh, have you seen that game yet? Yes, I've actually seen that game. I am semi-interested in it because it is similar to Apex and whatnot. Yeah, but yes. So, oh yeah, I was talking about a quote. Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. It's fine to hate things the way they're done, but you can accept that other people like them. Like the difference between having a heavy mouse with 10 times more function than a FPS specialized lightweight mouse with the same function as a regular mouse, except with small tweaks and improvements that help in FPS gaming and or in general reaction-based gaming. Yeah. Let me put this to the side, actually. Oh, what the heck? Oh my god. Oh. There. 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 There we go. We're back to normal. There we go. Jesus Christ. Okay. So now that we're done that, let's go into words. So let's go into words. 30 not words. In time, 30 seconds. And let's see if we can get at least above 75 words per minute again. Okay. Let's go. 90 words per minute. So I can do 90 words per minute with bursts into the hundreds. So highest burst seems to be about 108 words per minute. So yeah, the Cherry MX Browns, they sound a little hollow, especially in this board. As you can hear there. I don't... Yeah, it's not particularly pleasing. It just is. Okay, I'm gonna grab the bottom silicone for this, and I'm gonna take this apart. I think there are screws in very specific sections that will allow me to unscrew it. Take those. And I'm pretty sure it's these guys. Yep. One. Let's move that there. 2, 3, 4. We'll be doing a couple more coats as well later, but for now, we'll be taking these off. That way, we can have access to the bottom of the board and see if we can make a more solid sounding switch. Okay. There we go. We're going to do these 3 as well. That aside. But yeah. Some music back in. Oh my god. It's so cold. Jesus. Am I saying that you got 90 words per minute? Yes. I did get 90 words per minute. But that is in... What's it called? What is it? That is just in random word. Regular English. No weird crazy words that make no actual sense. None of that. Okay. I believe I have the works for this. There we go. Torque screw. Okay, the one thing I don't like about the screw that the NK65 uses, I don't know if you can see that. I don't believe you can, but we'll try. There you go. That is a torque screw. It's basically a hex screw, except more of a star shaped. Yeah. So I don't like that. That is one of the peeves that I have about this board. I don't see why you can't use regular Phillips. But, no, I mean, they can do whatever they want. It's their board. Whatever. I don't know why I removed that specific switch when I needed to remove the end switch. Okay, you know what? I don't want to twist this too hard. There you go. And as usual, we're going to be doing the star pattern when we remove and put on any of the screws. And I know normally it doesn't really matter if you're taking it off, but putting them on, definitely want to at least go with a star pattern. I believe this only uses 4 anyways. Should be fine. Why can't I grab it? You know, this is where the LTT screwdriver comes in handy in terms of its not bad, it's still a good job. You know what, Craig? I get it. You're really good at typing. You're talented in typing. You don't have to mock me. God damn. I bet you Cray would have 100 words per minute by next week. She's that good. And she started out 45. Not the age 45. But she started at 45 words per minute. I'm not mocking you this time. Sure. Sure, buddy. You mock me every other time. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can drop this. Oh. Is there more screws? There is 2 more screws? What? I totally forgot about those. I was pretty sure I got all of them, but I guess I'm wrong. Alright. 67. Yes, I still think that this should have been Phillips screws. At least on the NK65. Because it's a beginner... It's supposed to be a beginner version or entry edition type of keyboard, and as an entry edition item, I don't know. That just seems wrong to have a very specific screw instead of a regular Phillips. At least you have a chance of, you know, getting of having a Phillips screw or a cross-shaped screw versus a Torx. A Torx. I don't know if you can see that. A star shape. You're not gonna have a star-shaped screwdriver. No one has a star-shaped screwdriver. Okay, there you go. All right. So as you can see, here is the board normally, but I have what's it called? A cotton inside versus the silicone mat that it normally comes with. I'm gonna grab that real quick. Oh, before I pull out my headphones. This is what it normally comes out with. We're gonna put this back. I'm gonna clean it a little bit, honestly. Does need a little bit of cleaning. Oh, you don't? and oh my god, yeah, she's not mocking me. She's just highlighting my incompetence. It's completely different. There's no difference whatsoever. Why you be like that? Why you gotta be like that? Jesus. Yeah, so there are knobs on the silicone sheet where it's used to lift up the board a little. But because the tray itself is so stiff, those knobs are effectively useless. I don't know why they bothered. I would rather have some texture that allowed for a different sound profile, honestly. I think this will be fine, even if I don't screw it in. Oh, that's sharper! Ew! Because we're best friends. Oh, bestie. Jesus Christ. Can't you be a normal best friend for once? Okay. Yeah. You can hear it. You can just hear it. Let me just, so you guys can. It's feed time. Alright. Go have fun. Okay. Alright. As you can hear here. As you can hear. That's very sharp. If I take that out. Okay. And this is going to be hollow. This is without any of the inserts. Yeah, it's lower pitched. I honestly like these better lower pitched than higher pitched. Honestly. And then if I put this in, it should clean it up a little bit. Some people use toilet paper. I don't know. I think I have extra. Come on. There we go. I think I have extra foam, not foam, cotton that I can use. Okay. Yeah, see, that cleans it up a little bit, but it's still sharper just because there's some filling. I think I liked it better without the silicone bottom. I'm gonna try something. I don't like that as well. Where is it? Where are you? Ones! There you are. Okay, so I have the used ones over here. Not a diaper. Trust me. Okay. There we are. Extra bit. Should I just cut this extra bit? I'm gonna cut this extra bit and probably put it in the center. This bit in two, maybe? We'll try to cut this extra bit. Yeah, we'll do that. There you go. Alright. Let's take this in. Some account. My voice is horrible for singing and enjoying. Alright, let's do that. That's a little too thick for that section, honestly. So we're gonna cut that in half. We're gonna put it in these sections and hopefully it'll sound a little better. Okay. There we go. Ta-da! Oh. It's like I wasn't cutting all the way through, apparently. I don't think these scissors are large enough. I should buy larger scissors, honestly. Okay. Gonna do that. We're gonna take this over here. Yeah, that makes sense. Take that over there. Gonna take this. Yep, the polyfill. Not really filler, but put that over there. Let's cut. Let's cut off that little bit excess. I don't like that I'm cutting off the excess, but still, I guess. There we go. Should be exactly where I want it. Yep, exactly where I want it. And then we'll put the excess over here. There you go. Makes sense. Now, let's see what that sounds like. Preliminary. Test. Yeah, no, I still don't entirely like it, to be honest. No. Okay. No, it's definitely better than earlier. It's just, I think looping this would be the best part. So once it gets to looping, that's when we're gonna be good. So let's put the screws back in and see if that makes a big difference in how it sounds. And I don't believe it should make any difference. And hope that it is something at least that I like. You guys might like it yourselves, but you know, the Browns, they don't sound that great. Don't have an interesting sound profile to them, but they do have some sound. And I know a lot of people even say that, oh my god, what's it called? Mechanical keyboards are loud. And it's mostly, I believe, because they were advertised as a quiet switch, especially with the Cherry MX Browns, the, what's it called? Cherry MX Reds. They're advertised as quiet instead of loud because the clicky switches were loud. Clicky switches are loud, definitely. However, they're not silent switches. Those are completely different. I think that's part of it. And a lot of it has to do with expectations versus reality. Sure, yes, it's quiet compared to a clicky switch, but if you're comparing it to a chiclet keyboard or an old rubber dome keyboard, oh, it's loud. In comparison, it is much louder. It's not just... This is just not quiet. Okay. Alright, and as usual, we don't want to tighten the screws too much. We just want it so that it's tight and it's holding onto the board, as you can see. We don't want it to... what's it called? We don't want it to warp the board. We just want it to hold onto the board. Okay, I know there was an issue with this NK65. Yeah, there's some creaking going on, but okay. Yeah, so there's an issue with the NK65, and depending if you screw this on correctly, you can end up with a slight warp to the board where it is a little bit lopsided. You know what I mean? It's a little lopsided, but you can actually just hold it and twist it physically, like actually take it and twist it, and it will be fine. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but... Oh my god. Um, there is a little bit of creaking with the board, but I think that is just how it is, honestly. Grab that. Tighten this a little bit more. Yeah, I know I say don't tighten it past way too much, but as long as you do the star pattern, you should be okay. And just continue to do the star pattern until all of the screws are tight and it doesn't, well, tight enough and it doesn't want to turn. Because if there is some warping to the board or whatever plate that you're attaching it to, you can get into some warping. All right, see, yeah. So once I tightened it enough, there isn't a lot of creaking to it. Seems like this, specifically this right-hand side, seems to be a little creakier than normal. It's not even that section where the screw is, so I can tighten this more, but it's not gonna help any more. And yeah, and because it's not as warped, the spacebar sounds a little better now. Not very ticky, and it's nice. All right, there you go. Ta-da! Okay, gonna grab these, and we're gonna do another typing test, and we're gonna go back to a quote. Oh man, it's only been an hour and a half. I normally do these streams for about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, instead of the normal, which is gonna be 3 to 4. But I think those are just gonna be the lubing streams. I think the lubing streams is where I would have a longer time doing. See, not too bad. But yeah, I think it's a quieter and less solid sound of a typewriter. Okay, I hate this a little less. Still not as nice or interesting as the Glorious Pandas earlier, but it's not that bad. Okay, people say it's horrible. It's not horrible. It's all right. Oh, it's an hour 30 minutes, guys. Water. Make sure to drink some water. I filled my bottle of water just earlier. Where is it? There it is. So make sure, get some water. I know someone was doing some feeding earlier. All right. But yeah, get some water. It's been a while. Make sure you are hydrated. And since it's been an hour, a little bit of stretching. Slight. Doesn't have to be all the way. Just enough to say you stretched a bit. There you go. Got some blood flowing on you. Alright. Now we can get into the typing test. Let me just connect this. Where is it? Come on. There you go. Ta-da! Alright. Put aside all the items, including this guy. Alright. Now. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can get the over 75 words per minute that we're aiming for. Alright. I started at the end, unfortunately. So yeah, okay. Looks like I got 92. Oh, just because I got 91.99 words per minute. Let me scroll up here. 91.99 words per minute. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. And 98% accuracy. That's good. 65% Consistency, not great. But yeah, looks like my peak is about 109 words per minute. 128 words per minute raw when in a burst. And yeah, averaged about 92. Did I hit? Yeah, 109. So I hit 109 and then I slightly lowered the moment I started. Okay. That's where I'm getting wrong. All right. Now time to go back into quotes, guys. All right. So that's legible for you guys. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. No. 64 words per minute with low accuracy. Okay. There it is. 29 seconds. All right. All right. But yes, 64 with a burst of 104. So we can burst into 104 at some times, but we're averaging out at 64, unfortunately. Okay. Let's go with the quote. It's really hard to do nothing totally, even just sitting here, like this. Our bodies are churning, our minds are chattering. There's a whole commotion going on inside us. Yes, it is impossible to do nothing, and even if you are doing quote unquote nothing, that is something that you are doing. It's really hard to do nothing totally, yes. Even just sitting there. Therefore, you are sitting, you're not doing nothing, it's just nothing is happening in relation to you. Like this, our bodies are churning, our minds are chattering, thinking about things. You're thinking, you're not just sitting there. Of course, there is always that famous sculpture, the thinker. You're just that guy just going there thinking to himself. And yeah, now there are times where you kind of want to be aware of yourself and what you're doing, right? And that's fine. There's a whole commotion of things going on inside of you. And that is fine as long as you don't take too much time just thinking, figuring out what do I do? Do I do this? Do I do that? Just choose the best option you have at the time. After thinking about it for a little bit, I know a lot of people would just go head first into everything all of the time. Calm down a little bit, take some time to think about it, and then go take an action. That is the best way to go around things, because a lot of the times I do find that if you don't think about things and you just run head first, headlong into everything, you end up making issues or problems for yourself that will end up in you wasting more time, even though you're trying to get things done as quick as possible because you're panicking, possibly, or you're trying to get, like I said, trying to just get things done as quickly as possible, right? So slow down, and like even just sitting there like this, our bodies are churning, our minds are chattering, there's a whole commotion going on inside us. So you're not doing nothing, you are doing something, and part of that is just gathering your thoughts, making sure you have the best solution available to you at the time, even if it is given your information, your thoughts, and just go for it. All right. So now that is done. I think I might try to get the middle plate. I might want to try doing the middle plate and see how that goes. So let me tear apart this keyboard and go through the middle plate as well. I forgot the music. Jeez. Okay. You know, sometimes I listen to some of this music that's going on for Stream Beats, Harris Heller's Stream Beats. And I feel like the person who composed this is the same person who listed all the stuff for games that were on Newgrounds. And if people know what I'm trying to talk about, people know what I'm trying to talk about. But it's kind of a very kind of niche thing. Very much like certain Project Melody. Alright. Let's see if I have the other plate. I believe I have the other plate, but I could be wrong. Oh! I just have another green keyboard. No, where is that plate? I'm pretty sure I have that plate. NK65. It might be in the NK65 box. Do I have it on me right now? Like it? I really should rearrange this this thing. Okay. But let's try to, before we get into any other thing. Oh, here's a regular gaming keyboard for those who might be interested with a regular gaming keyboard and what that sounds like in comparison. It is not quite a regular gaming keyboard because this is the Ducky, which is a plastic board, but it does have what is called SA keycaps. It's much sharper. I don't remember which keys these were. Or switches. Oh, these are regular. Oh, these are coppers. These are speed coppers. Yeah. So if you're looking for Cherry MX Brown equivalents, these are copper switches. You might want to swap to the copper switches as well if you guys want, but let's see. Let's go. Let's see if we can get 75 words per minute on this configuration first, and then we can go on into other things. Let's move that there. Okay. Let's try this. Boop. There you go. Still not 75 words per minute. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Okay. Alright, so love quotes for the ages, specifically ages 19 to 91. Alright. Okay. Let's see where this goes. Oh no, we're gonna go to this test. Alright, so here's the quote. To find out if she really loved me, I hooked her up to a lie detector. And just as I suspected, my machine was broken. That was a short one too. Yes, Cray, I understand. It was a short one. Okay. To find out if she really loved me, I hooked her up to a lie detector. And just as I suspected, my machine was broken. Okay, this could be a love for anything. Not just a woman. Okay. So... where... Of course... it could be a lie that your entire belief or outlook in life was incorrect, wrong, or whatnot, and you refuse to take that as is, and you keep going with what you love. I guess you could say that. And if that's what you want, that's fine. And realizing what you want and the reality of things are two different things. It's all right to just keep staying with what you want. You don't have to stay there and hate yourself for a belief that isn't really holding you back. That's fine. You don't have to prove anything if something feels the way it is. It's just now that you know something is not real, does it make it any less real to you? Is very much a thing. But if it's real to you, and I think for a lot of people, perception and reality are the same thing. However, in quote unquote, reality is based off of your perception. So your perception is more real than the actual reality. So if you're thinking, oh my god, reality is a sham, then therefore reality is a sham. If that's what your belief is, and everything that you believe will always become what everything you perceive will become your reality, because that's what you perceive. That is what is real to you. So if you don't want something to be real, you either find a way. It comes back to those conspiracy theories. if you want to, if you really, really, really wanted to, you can find ways to make yourself believe that these conspiracy theories are real, and you can listen to these people, and they sound correct. They sound like they're of sound mind. These people aren't in general stupid. They just have a really strong belief that this is right, and they keep trying to find more information to prove themselves right. Even flat earthers, a lot of them are not stupid. You know, these people literally created experiments to say, no, the earth is not flat. And they keep proving themselves wrong. And they refuse to believe it. And they recheck their math. They check the experiment. There's something wrong with the experiment. They do another experiment. The earth is round yet again. And so on and so on the cycle goes. So yes, to find out if the earth was flat, just like the quote here, to find out if she really loved me, I hooked her up to a lie detector, which is the experiment these flat earthers created. And just as I suspected, my machine was broken. They believe that because they believe so strongly in their faith of that information that they have, that they are not willing to compromise on it. They don't want to compromise on that thing, even if the experiments they did that they believe is scientifically backed, that, oh, this is the best way to prove that the earth is flat. And I forget what experiment it was, but there was an experiment that happened where they expected a laser to be slightly drifting if the earth indeed was round, to be depending on their location, would be slightly drifting to a certain degree as it was being spun on a table or something of that sort. And they say the number would be exactly this if the earth was round, and it would be this if it was flat. And they made the calculations to see if the earth was flat, this is what it was going to be about. So they tried it, and they ended up, yeah, it was it was round. It went to round. It was spherical. Therefore, guess what? They realize their machine is broken, and they created more experiments to find out if the earth was flat and or round. And they keep hitting experiments that was proving to them that the earth was round. Therefore, the earth will remain round. So, but they refuse to believe that earth is round. They still go with earth is definitely, what's it called? Flat. So, that is what this code is. All right, we'll go with one more. We'll keep chasing that 75 words per minute and see if we can actually reach it. All right. Aw, I made too many mistakes. Raw 65, so it's not great. Alright, so here's the quote. I don't like it. I'm making too many mistakes. Again, I have to calm down, type properly, because you're losing 10 words per minute. I'm losing 10 words per minute just by making mistakes and not correcting them, trying to get faster. Okay. Alright, so burst. Yeah, I can burst raw 88, but still not there, unfortunately. Alright, so here's the quote. That's what the money is for. You should be thanking me every morning when you wake up, along with Jesus, for giving you another day. So here is one of those quotes where that's what the money is for. You should be thanking me. So basically, it's complaining about a person who isn't using the resources that are given to them. And that's fine. You can complain as long as you're doing something about it. Sure. It's kind of like saying you stub your toe, and it makes it a little less painful when you are complaining about it, because that's an outlet for, or a distraction from the pain that you are suffering. It's fine to complain about things, but when it drags other people down, try to keep the complaints mostly to yourself, and that should help in relationships and stuff like that, I believe. I wouldn't really know, because a lot of the times I guess you can say I talk to myself more than anything, but That's a different problem. You should be thanking me every morning when you wake up along with Jesus. So thank the Lord if you believe in that. I am within the, I would say, agnostic, and I don't really call myself atheist specifically. I do believe it's atheist to be the correct term, but when you say agnostic, it kind of says or gives a different message. So when you say atheist, a lot of people kind of imagine a person who says, "No, God bad. Stop going with God." And then when you say agnostic, it's like, "Oh, I don't believe in God, but if you believe in it, whatever. It's if there exist, sure, that's great." And that's the difference. So that's why there's two different terms for atheist. It's atheist and agnostic. Kind of like there's two different versions of Muslim. What was the two? There's the Shiat. Two versions of Muslim. Let me actually search that up. Two versions of Muslim or Islam. Sunni and Shia. Yes, two sects of Muslim is Sunni and Shia. So there are two, and there are multiple. It's weird that Islam has literally two different sects. Meanwhile, Christianity has hundreds. It's so weird. Oh my god, I just saw that pop up, Cray. Alright? Sunni and Shia. Yeah. So yeah, you thank me every morning when you wake up, along with Jesus or Allah, if you are one of those. And yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, you can complain. Complaining is fine. Complaining can be fun. It doesn't have to be just, oh my god. Do something while you complain. If you are in the action of doing something in the middle of your complaining, that is 10 times better because one, you relieve yourself of a little bit of stress while being able to take action on it. Okay. All right. So let's chase that 75 one more time. Okay. Ooh, a science one. Let's go. Oh, let's be quiet. That way people can hear the keyboard because it's a keyboard stream. You want to be able to hear the keyboard, not just me ranting. All right. Still nothing. Still not getting there. 68 words per minute. I'm a lot more accurate than earlier. My raw was 72. Okay. With a high burst of 96 words per minute. Okay. All right, let's go with this quote. All right. I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress do not speak as loud as my heart. Okay. Yes. So you can how I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. That's a difference between someone who's just trying to figure out something for the sake of gathering information and the difference between someone that's trying to figure out something in because out of pure curiosity. And there are many people, I don't know why is this out there? Let me put this back. There you go. There are a lot of people who just, for example, on YouTube, there are a lot of channels whose main purpose is straight out information. How do I do this? And you get hundreds and thousands of views. But that was just to help people find information. Meanwhile, and those are like science channels too, right? And meanwhile, there are guys like Hank Green, Tom Green, Hank Green. I can't remember the name. Whatever his name is, it's green. Very much like the shirt that I'm wearing and the cat. Let's go. Anyways, I just realized that. But yes, they give a lot of quotes. They know a lot about the sciences and the reason things are the way they are. And I forget what was there was a quote I remember where it in context it sounded very much uh threatening, but it was I forget. Let me uh so they were in a confrontation. Hank Green was in this D&D ish game. It's not D&D. It's just a tabletop RPG game where you kind of role play and pretend you're a kind of person that you'd like to be or not want to be. And he was role playing as the Fixer. I think he was called the Fixer. And basically, everything he does apparently is threatening, and some people just find it funny that the words that are coming out of him just happen to be threatening, even though they're just random science facts. All right, so what happens is they're trying to hold this guy down, and they need information from this one guy. And in holding this, he's like, you know, yeah, no, this guy's screaming out loud. So the guy is screaming out loud. It's like, oh my god, you might break my bones. And then he suddenly says, did you know that your hand... Oh wait, did you know that there are about 186 bones in the human body? And 90 of them are located in your hands. And so it sounds threatening because, by the way, I can break half the bones in your body simply by breaking your hands. But no, it's one of those weird things where you go find questions for the sake of finding information, which is what science is. You want to figure out the solution to a problem. Meanwhile, like science and progress do not speak as loud as my heart. There are some people out there who are in the science community who really, really just want to find the information purely out of curiosity. Nothing to do with to solve a problem that they have. They just look at it and go, oh, that's weird. Why isn't this thing doing what I expect it to do, given the laws of the universe? And then they find more things about the laws of the universe. Other people, again, just look at it as information to use or leverage. That way you can be used. That way it can be used in other aspects of life. And I think one of the quotes I remember watching, who was it? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse. Oh, I hate names because I can't remember them worth a damn. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was explaining how the reason we're able to land rockets today, where it goes into the middle of the ocean, there's this platform in the middle of the ocean because that's the safest place where we can put a landing multi-ton piece of metal and try to land it on a tarmac. We've already figured that out on planes, but planes are going almost horizontally. However, rockets that are going all the way up to space are coming almost vertically down into the earth. So the safest place they can put it was effectively the ocean. They put it on the ocean. Now they have this weird flying barge in the middle of the ocean where this spacecraft is supposed to just land. But here's the problem. That aircraft has to land on a platform in the middle of the ocean, which is moving. So they found an algorithm how to figure that out and land the rocket perfectly. You wouldn't think that would be useful for anyone else, but it's also now being used for eye surgery. Why? Because if they are shooting a laser into your eye, but your eye is wiggling just a little bit, looking at things, you can't make a proper lens out of it. So that same technology to land a rocket is the same technology they use to aim a laser at your eyes to create a lens inside of your eyes. Not to mention laser technology and even microwave technology was just accidents found. They're like, oh wait, we can use this to heat water molecules. You know, oh, And then they keep using that, and they find newer ways to leverage all of these things. Okay. All right. The elusive chase for that 75 words per minute. Let's move on to trying that one more time. Silence the music. And let's go. Oh my god. Why? Why? Alright. Well, I was doing so good at the start, and I started falling apart. It is a little sad. It's a little sad. It's just, oh my god. Alright. Alright. I just fell apart there. So good. So well. Alright. Okay, on to the quote. Inconsistencies. Again, trying to calm down. But alright, let's go here. I know what you want. You want a story that won't surprise you, that will confirm what you already know, that won't make you see higher or further or differently. You want a flat story, an immobile story. You want dry, yeastless factuality. Okay, so this comes back to that thought on belief or perception versus reality that I was talking about just earlier. Reality and perception, two different things, you would think. But to a lot of people, perception is reality. It comes back to that flat earther stories that I keep mentioning. You want a story that won't surprise you. And this comes to it reminds me somewhat of my parents, where they're Asian, of course. And like a lot of other Asian parents, what they want is their child to go out there, go to school, graduate from high school with high grades. Once you go graduate from high school and with high grades, they go to college. They go to college, they become an engineer, a nurse, a lawyer, a doctor, some sort of high paying job, you know? And after that, they go find a girlfriend. They get married, they have children, they buy a house, and they rinse and repeat it with their own kids. Right? But that's a flat story. That's what they want. A little? A little what? A little what regarding what they're Krea? Um you want a flat story. And that's what a lot of people want. An immobile story. A dry, yeastless factuality. But the thing is, and this is from Life of Pi. It's the story about a guy who gets lost in the ether with after a shipwreck with what happens to be a wild tiger from a zoo. It's great. So want to check that out, but that will confirm what you already know. They have this belief that if you follow this very specific life path, you will be happy. But it's not that. Oh my god, Cray. Yes, about the typing, a little bad. Yes, I know, I type bad. You know what you want? You want a story that won't surprise you. But that's the thing. A lot of people come in, and I've mentioned this before, but if you follow that life path, you won't necessarily be happy, because a lot that has to do with the life path simply has to do with the life path of the people that came before you. They know what they've done before, and a lot of it is a lot of experimentation. And You have to do experimentation of your own. I know I'm experimenting with a lot of things. There are so many things that I do to experiment. Like, for example, this stream here, I don't know what I'm doing. No one knows what they're doing. They just sit here. I do keyboard tests. I talk about a code, and that's pretty much it. And will this kick off sometime in the future? I don't know. I haven't tried it for long enough to know if that is going to be the case yet. I do content on tech. That's doing relatively well, but it's still not doing as well as people in the tech sphere. Linus Tech Tips, Paul's Hardware, Bitwit. Bitwit's mostly retired from the tech space, but he's doing a lot of other things. And that comes again to here. That will confirm what you already know. He knows he can do that. He knows that if he tries and goes to do tech content, he'll be successful and he'll be able to do that quite easily. But that for him is a flat story, an immobile story. It's what he's been doing. He's done that before, and he doesn't want to continue it forever and ever and ever and ever. He wants to do those things. The problem is, I know if I follow the engineer life path, I'd be happier now. Okay. But it comes to that, like the engineer life path. And if you think about it, oh, you studied to be an engineer. Are you a computer engineer, a mechanical engineer, an aircraft maintenance engineer? Um, you know what I mean? You have to convince yourself it's something that you at the very least don't absolutely hate. Do you want to be a biological engineer, aka a doctor? Even a doctor's not a very specific engineer. There's so many things about engineering. Nuclear plant engineering is a thing, apparently. So you can go to school for any of that. And there are stuff like the arts here on stream. There are people who stream. The arts animation is one. That's completely different from VTubing, because VTubing is just using an animation to host or view things or show things off. It's basically a costume, you know? Any of that is better than being a dietitian. See, a dietitian, do you know what that is? That is a diet engineer. These are literally people who look at it and say, oh, this is the exact pieces of food that you need to be healthy for this very specific problem. And I think, yeah, no, even as a you could say engineering. To engineer, what is engineer? Let's search that out. Definition of engineer. Okay. Oh, actually, did that just do something? Okay. There we go. You know, let's zoom in. There we go. Engineering. Engineering is the practice of using natural science, mathematics, and the engineering design process to solve technical problems, increase efficiency and productivity, and improve systems. So basically, it's using what you know, whether that's science, mathematics, or design, to solve technical problems, increase efficiency and productivity, and improve systems. Okay. But in terms of a we're talking about Asian families' definition of engineering. Yes, Asian families' version of engineering. The one that makes money. Yes, let's go with that. But in terms of engineering, it's literally the person who finds a problem and tries to make it better. To solve problems or increase efficiency. AKA, you find a problem, but the problem is that it's not fast enough. Or it doesn't do enough work. And that's it. That's what it is. Oh, wow. Looking at Google's results, engineering. The work done by or the occupation of an engineer. That is... Why? How is that? The occupation of an engineer? Yes, when a child goes up to their parent and they go, "What is engineering?" Oh, it's the stuff the engineers do. And nobody freaking calls dietitians food engineers. Hey, look, when your client comes to you with a problem that says, "Hey, I want my diet to fulfill these needs, that is a problem, a technical problem that needs solving. And you are designing a process. Here it is. Here it is. Let's scroll down a little bit. Looking at this very specific piece, engineering design process to solve technical problems. Guess what? That is a technical problem, and you are engineering a diet and designing a diet to fix that technical problem, which is AKA I am fat. Therefore, I need a diet to not be fat. And that's how it works. That is how it works. You just do that. You are a food engineer. So if your parents say, "Oh, I wanted you to go into a engineering field," you can and you wanted to go into arts. You wanted to get into painting. What you can say is, "Oh, I am going into paint engineering. I make paints and see how the colors affect everything else." Meanwhile, you're just painting because you do it well enough and it gets paid. Comprehend what I just said, you dunce. Yeah, nobody freaking. No, I know no one calls dietitian food engineers, but you gotta try. Then again, it's not gonna work with Asian parents because they're stuck in their ways and they will always be stuck. They want, and like I said, they want a flat story, like this quote says. That won't make what's it called? I know what you want. We know what all the Asian parents want. They want a story that won't surprise them, that will confirm what they already know, that won't make them see a higher or further or differently. They want a flat story, an immobile story. They want dry, yeastless factuality, or their perceived factuality. In other words, make more money, be happier. Meanwhile, there are so many people that are so miserable at their job just to make their parents happy. And are their parents happy? No. Their parents say, "Oh, you could do better." No. So you're never gonna win. You have Asian parents, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, this is what it's like to have Asian parents." You got a 98? Why isn't it 100? You got 100? Wow, how did you not get the bonus question that allows you to get 101% in your tests? You're just not gonna win. Those are Asian parents. Oh my god. At least the traditional Asian parents. I'm not being very stereotypical. It's just like a lot of people who complain about having Asian parents. That is their experience with having Asian parents. It's just, yeah, unfortunate. But way too many Asian parents are like that. Anyways, it is past the 2-hour mark. It is time. LTT store just sponsored me. I have your stuff. Is this the old one? No, this is the old one. Oh, sorry. It's the old one. They have the logo still there. I think the new one doesn't have the logo there. But it is one of those things where it's like, oh my god. So 2-hour mark, just over. Get some water, drink some water. That is it. So yeah. I know what you want. You want a story that won't surprise you, that will confirm what you already know, that won't make you see higher or further or differently. You want a flat story, an immobile story. You want dry, yeastless factuality. So yes, the lesson here is go to higher places. Go further than anyone would normally go. Do things a little differently. And you might get into different places than where your other people's expectation lands for you. Because if you do what everyone else is doing, you'll end up where everyone else is. Therefore, if you do things differently, of course you can't just do things differently for the sake of doing things differently. But if you want something different or you want to get somewhere different, that won't make you see higher or further or differently. Just if you want to be different, go higher, go further, go do something different. All right. Again, let's chase for that 75 words per minute. Drink, dude, don't choke. I didn't choke. Jesus. You drink. All right. Ow. All right. Okay. Yeah. Why do I have a V curve? I just find a way to choke at one point instead of instead of getting a straight consistent. You can see my consistency is about 60% roughly. Oh my god. 57? But yeah. Again, that was the Cherry MX Browns on the NK65, and it is with the GPPT from Glorious keycaps. So I do like them personally, but I don't know. I still think I want it to be a little more mid sounding in terms of the section. Now you want to do a test just to see your progress. Yeah, so Korean chat is straight up one of those people who literally not even a year ago was at 45 words per minute. And I've been at this for about 2.5, 3 years already, trying to improve my words per minute on quote. And I can't seem to crack 75. She's there. She's at 85. She started at 45. She's now at 85. She started a couple months ago. Some people just have the talent. It's not like she does anything different. And of course, her wrists are messed up currently. That's why she could have been faster, but alright. Okay, so let's check this code. It's mostly factual items. It feels very factual. I haven't done this myself, but here's the fact. Sometimes when you look up, you can see stars that don't twinkle. That's because they aren't stars. They're planets. Okay, so that kind of makes sense because I know with the sun, it tends to blink in and out, and part of it is because of the flares that happen. So the reason it blinks is, there are solar flares where there are pieces of the sun that kind of branch out. I don't think it's actually visible to the naked eye, but there are a lot of sci-fi movies that actually show it. Like they fly close to the sun, they're near the surface, the shields can barely take it, and as long as they don't get hit by those little weird small little flares, you're good. But there are events, I think we've gone through in the past 20 years, about 2 to 3 of these small solar flares where a section of the sun just kind of flares out and gives a heat wave. Yeah. So that makes sense. Stars that don't twinkle. Meanwhile, if you have a planet, which is an actual mass, if you hit light on it and it bounces, there's no variance to that light. And because it's based off of light that is far from it, so it's bouncing off light from different sources. Sure, it like I said earlier, that stars twinkle because of those effects that's happening, those little solar flares, and sometimes it dims and brightens. The difference is it's getting hit by these different light sources, and the difference in luminance or brightness doesn't go up and down quite drastically as compared to something like a star, which is its direct source of light, and it then goes up and down in comparison. So this makes sense. I don't know if that is factually correct. I'm not an what's it called? I'm not an astronomer. I don't actually look at these things, but looking at this quote and thinking about it a little bit, it seems to be correct, logically speaking. Whether that's actually correct, and because I'm just roughing it based off this quote here, it might be it. That might be it. So that's the explanation that exists in my head, and that is my perceived reality. But let us go and keep trying to get to 75 words per minute. Again, this is the NK65 with foam underneath, not foam, cotton underneath instead of the silicone that is normally in it. I think the Cherry MX Browns that are on this board sound a little too sharp when using silicone. If you want a much more solid or higher pitched keyboard, if you have the NK65, just take this out and swap it in for either foam or cotton or like polyfill, if you will. I have it where I have kind of customized it a little. So as you can see, it is lighter than normal novel keys. And Cray in chat is now straight up just 77 words per minute, 99% accuracy, Consistently. Yes, she is showing off. Okay, because I can't seem to get 75 words per minute. But yes, I have in here what is called, I think it's called polyfill. I don't think it's called polyfilm, but effectively it's just kind of some sort of cotton instead of just foam. I don't have that much foam, so I don't really use it until I have to, but I'm gonna use that. And I don't have the silicone insert in between the plate and the PCB either. So that's the difference with this very specific one. All right, let's go with this quote. Oh, we got it. We got it. We got it. Finally. Aha. 77 words. I got 80 once. All right. Let's see here. It looks like I messed up at the start, went up, and I had a streak, a small streak for a couple seconds there, of 108 words per minute raw. But of course, my average is still lower because I had a really slow start. And then I started slowing down. Not too bad. So there you go. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. It says, what is it? It's sad to say that kids unaccepted by their peers really never learn how to get along with people in the big grown up world. Yeah. So this comes down to practice in general. So sad to say kids unaccepted by their peers. Yeah, so kids. So when you're young, never never learn how to get along with people in the big grown world. See, oh my god. Okay, see, this is an example of people or a kid that was unaccepted by their peers and hasn't learned how to get along with people in the big grown up world. Cray says, see, do I gotta bully you this way for you to get better? You know, case in point. It's sad to say the kids unaccepted by their peers really never learn how to get along with people in the big grown up world. I don't know how true this is. I don't know if there's any science backing this up. But what I can say is that practice makes better. A lot of people say practice makes perfect, but if practice makes perfect, that means you don't get any better. Because perfect means peak. That's it. That's as good as you can get. So, I think a lot of it has to do with how you are growing in skill to be able to talk to people or communicate with people. So that's why they don't get along with people in the big grown up world, is because the same reason that everyone would get better in communicating or doing anything is purely through practice. You don't just expect to, I think the most famous example is, you don't pick up a basketball then expect to be part of the NBA. You just don't. You don't just get better easily. And if you practice enough and consistently and have intentional practice, and kids can't do this. Kids can't intentionally practice. They don't have any, what's it called? They don't have any control over what they are technically doing. So they never really learn how to get along with people in the big grown up world. And I remember hearing this story because I was there. Oh, hi there, Ozita Domeyel. Ozita Domeyel. I heard this story about a kid being held back from going into kindergarten because their father believed that they couldn't hold themselves emotionally quite yet. They're not capable of dealing with a lot of other people, and when they get angry, they're too angry and they burst out emotionally. So they held the kid back for a year, and then they put them into kindergarten the next year. And that same year, that kid wanted to play with a bunch of other kids, but this one kid didn't want to play. So what happened is the kid, because kids being kid in kindergarten, it's like, oh, he just needs a hug. She tries to hug this other kid. The kid just punches her and pushes her to the floor. Well, of course, that's not a great response, but mind you, these are kindergarteners. And she's crying. Parent gets called into, of course, the office, yada yada yada. And the parents, like, yeah, they have to teach the kid, hey, yeah, I get it. Not everyone wants to play with you, right? And not everyone is okay playing the game that you're playing. And the kid responds, but yeah, but we wanted to play with this kid. Everyone's having fun. We wanted the other kid to have fun. But of course, the other kid felt uncomfortable and didn't want to do that. So they ended up not liking it. So when the other kid went to go for a hug, of course, they lashed out. They weren't able to hold their emotions or control their emotions, right? So it is just practice. And over time, the kids get better at being able to articulate themselves, do other things, and whatnot. So it's much harder to expect a kid to grow up when they have no control of how they're being exposed to the world, right? But yeah, peers and they never really learned how to get along with people in the big grown up world. Yeah, so as a grown up, you kind of know that there are just some people you can't really get along with. You don't have to get along with everyone. And yeah, this parent was trying to teach their kid, but they can't obviously be just say no, just don't do that, because it doesn't make sense, especially to a kid. He what's it called? The parent was trying to explain to his kid, yeah, but sometimes people who don't want to play, they don't want to play with you, and not everyone has to be able to play with you, but we wanted to play with them, the kid responds. And it's hard to go tell the kid that, hey, not everyone will act the same way as you and all the other kids. So just being in the proximity of these people, it's kind of, or these other kids, so to speak, who can't control themselves and being exposed to that, yeah, that kid probably who's not gonna have a lot of friends, doesn't talk to other kids. There's even this thing where I think Linus from Linus Tech Tips has talked about this in a recent WAN show, where he was called, there was a parent teacher conference, and he was going into to meet the other kids, and because they had to be, it's kind of like a meeting, and she doesn't know what his kid's best friend looks like, and she goes, oh, I'm gonna talk to my best friend, and she's like, oh, which one's your best friend? And she's like, the one with the braid. And this kid has zero concept, because Vancouver or BC, Canada in general, it's a mixing pot of a lot of cultures. The one with the braid, and I think he believes it, kind of proves it. I'm just making conjecture here. This might not be true, but basically the kid just goes, the girl with the braids. If you were gonna describe how someone looks like, a lot of the time you start with, it's Caucasian. The race. The race was the main factor of exactly why, exactly how you could pinpoint someone, and then after that you describe the rest of their features, or their most interesting feature that would stand out. And to this kid, the race had nothing to do with anything. It's not a defining feature for this kid. They just said the one with the braids. The most interesting part of this person is the braids, not the race, not even the gender, you know? So it's relatively interesting. So I think a lot of these things about racism or discrimination has a lot to do with the upbringing of the kid, which happens to be from the parents. And like it said, it's sad to say that kids unaccepted by their peers really never learn how to get along with people in the big grown up world. From Cheers, I don't know. Don't know if there's any backing to this again, but that's one of those things. If your parents don't teach you or try to guide you in a way that would help cultivate, or for you to practice how to speak with other people, you might not be comfortable learning. Oh my god. Yeah, your child's gonna be a racist AF. Yeah. Yeah, and there are some communities and some cultures, like where Cray is at, where racism is rampant. It's everywhere. Even just from one province to another, you're just like, oh, they're from the north. Oh, they're from the south. And it's mind-boggling. They're same race. They're all Polynesian in the same country, and yet they go, oh, they're the rich people from the middle section in Manila. You're like, no, you're all Polynesian. You're part of Southeast Asia. Most of you are Polynesian, and it doesn't matter. And there's this whole thing, but yeah, looks like we did hit 80 words per minute. And yeah, they all hate each other for no reason. It feels ridiculous, but you know, that is what it is. And yeah, if you teach your kids, if you guys have kids, if I even ever have kids, which is unlikely, but if I ever have kids, that's the thing. I won't be teaching them all these things. I know even my own mother is actually racist. And I kid you not, it's that horrible thing where you hear your mother going into a Korean store and then literally in the Korean store looking at you and saying, okay, this is my mother speaking, okay? Looking at me as a child, right? Looking at me and saying, oh my god, Koreans? They talk so weird. They go, and she mimics them. And I'm sitting there holding this trolley, white-knuckled, going, oh my god, what is happening? We're in a Korean store, and you're complaining how Koreans sound weird? What are you doing, mother? Just no. Just stop. I'm just sitting there holding this trolley going, oh no, oh no. Luckily, we were at checkout. So, oh my god. But yeah, luckily we were at checkout and we were leaving anyways. I was too embarrassed to look around and to see if anyone was looking at us. But damn. Yeah, it's those things. If you're a parent, do not teach your kids this. I know it's not very obvious when people say it out loud, because to them it sounds relatively normal, but you don't want to teach your things like, oh, these type of people are like that. It's, oh my god. Angel beats, yo. Yeah, a lot of quotes. Honestly, talking about quotes on from Monkey Type after doing a typing test is kind of fun, to be honest. All right. But yeah, so those are the Cherry from earlier. Those were the Cherry MX Browns. I can do real quick a comparison with, I forget what this is. The Zeal Switch is on my Mark 65. We'll do this real quick, a little bit. Take this out. Just to compare with the Zeals. Yeah, these are poppier. You can just tell. It's a sharper, but a more interesting sound. I like how clean this sounds compared to this. Oh, let me kill the music. It sounds rougher. It sounds scratchy. And sounds a little flat. This sounds sharp and clean. There's a little scratchiness to it, but this is a nicer and cleaner sounding switch. These are the Zeals. Let me just reconfirm that. But these should be the Zeal PC switches. Yeah, these are the 62 gram Zeal Zelios switches. Yeah. So that's the difference. So we're gonna go to do a typing test on this one as well. And as you can see here, I use the split spacebar. I use the left hand spacebar as a backspace. That way I can just hit control backspace. So you can see me, I think you guys would be able to see me when I'm doing some of the codes. When I do make mistakes, I use control and backspace. That will delete an entire word. So instead of spamming backspace, I can just control backspace, and then you will be able to just delete the entire word, especially when your mistake is about 3 to 4 letters long. Hitting this 3 times or hitting backspace 3 times is much better than is not better than just hitting control backspace. So that's 2 keys versus hitting the key 3 times. So you can go, and that's literally one kind of stroke, so to speak. But it is faster just because I can hold control and backspace quite easily because it's already there. I don't have to move with my right hand. So once I hit that control backspace, I immediately start typing. So I don't go click and then go back. So I don't do that. Yeah, so I've changed this as well to the tilde function. All right, so let's test this. That way you guys have a comparison. Let me just move this to the side. That way we can remind ourselves that that's there. And we will use this. All right. Do another quote. Oh, one of this. There we go. 71 words per minute. Unfortunately, my raw was 74. I did mess up one of the words, and as you see there, I was able to use control backspace just by doing this instead of going back. And a couple times there, because I'm quite used to using the MK65 after all those typing tests. Going back is gonna be a little annoying. Or I'm gonna hit control space because it's an entire space bar versus the split space bar over here. Yeah, it's one of those things where you go back and forth. Eventually, I will get to a point where I can go from this large space bar to these, the backspace and the space bar. It's gonna be much better. Hopefully, I hope it's gonna be much better. I don't actually know, but with some practice and a lot of experience, I should be able to swap between a regular spacebar and a regular backspace to a split spacebar with a split backspace. I normally leave this as delete. I keep forgetting whether this is delete because I know sometimes I have this as page up, page down, end because and then this is as delete. So where the backspace normally is delete, and then tilde on the top right hand corner. And the reason for this actually is because the tilde is used in games like CSGO and certain programming, like just to enter certain menus. Not really programming per se, but it is a relatively useful key. So I do keep it and I do use it in that position. On this, however, the tilde is function escape, so that's much farther. So you have to hit function escape. So that's using two hands versus one. That's where the efficiency comes in. I have many ideas for efficiencies, but the problem is I don't have the competence to be able to pull them off properly. I'm not stupid, just incompetent, as my sister would put it. Stupid, but not stupid, just incompetent. All right, let's talk about this quote. All right, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it. Oh, wait. Let's make sure everyone can read this. All right. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it fall, does it make a sound or not? Hector had read a lot of books by then. He knew all the tricks and arguments of philosophers. If someone makes a movie and no one sees it, does the movie exist or not? That's how he justified what he did. Okay. So that's where you got that, huh? No, this is not where I got. This is from the Book of Illusions. The quote, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it fall, does it make a sound or not? That is an old time saying. Yeah, that is an old time saying quote to prove something. I don't know what it really proves, but basically, does it exist if no one's seen it? Is the question. That's the general gist of that quote. But yeah, that's an argument made by a lot of people. It's kind of like when I used to do Oh no, the thing you're I'm not stupid, just incompetent. Yes. You're not stupid, just incompetent. Yes, my sister. I think she was like 6 or 7 years old when she said that. Where I don't know. I don't remember exactly what I did, but I muttered to myself, "God damn it, I'm so stupid." And then my sister looks me dead in the eye and goes, "You're not stupid. You're just incompetent." Children, I swear. I swear. Yeah, it's she just learned what the word incompetent means, and now she's using it to roast me. Ah, yeah. Yeah, she was 7 at the time. Or 6. I can't remember the specific detail, but she was a child who learned the word incompetent, and therefore used it to roast me. Okay, but yes. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it fall, does it make a sound or not? So yes. Um, it's a weird straw man argument I find where a lot of people be I, oh yeah, yeah. I was actually on to a different part of that story. I used to work a commission job where I sold internet plans, cell phones, your regular guys like AT&T and stuff. It's the local ones in Canada. But basically, I sold phones and internet. And there was this one salesman where I pitched this lady who was looking for the cheapest plan available because they were there for a limited time. They were there for maybe a month max. So I was like, yeah, this is the cheapest that we have. And I think it was at the time, even from last month, there was a Black Friday deal going on. Therefore, oh yeah, this is the cheapest plan we got, and it's the newest 5G, all that stuff, right? I think it was 4G at the time or LTE at the time, but effectively it was the newest standard for not just viewing, the newest standard for mobile connections. And I explain all this, and I say, okay, yeah, so you're looking for the cheapest, and I just give it to them straight. Oh yeah, here's the cheapest thing we had. It is also 4G or 5G. 4G. I think it's 4G at the time. It's 4G, so it's the fastest one that we have. So if you're looking for one of the better signals and there's less people on it, this is going to be the one. It's a little more expensive than the lower tier ones because the way it works is there's 3 tiers. There's the high tier, which is the one I was working for. There's the mid tier and there's the lowest tier. If you're looking for the lowest tier, we don't have that here, but here's the guys that do it. So the way it works is company A, B, and C are all owned by company A over here in Canada, and company A will have, for example, right now, that is Rogers, Bell, and Telus. So those 3 companies have 5G networks. They give plans for 5G networks, but underneath was Rogers, Virgin, and no, it's Virgin, Fido, and I forgot the third one. But it's the lower tier. They give the regular. They have a cheaper price. However, what you lose is support. So if you have calls, you have to go into a store, and also you lose the whole 5G thing. So you're stuck with the LTE bands. A lot more people are on the LTE band. So when you experience slowdowns, that's where you can get when there's a lot of people, that's where you experience slowdowns. So, if you want the best or you want as much bandwidth as possible, you go for the higher tier ones because they're on not only the 5G networks, there's a lot less people because it's more money for what is effectively the same thing, internet access. And then there's the lower ones like Public Mobile or Lucky Mobile. Those are they're from the same company. However, uh they have zero support. You just go there, you have to go to the specific store, and if you call in, you're like, hey, I have a problem. There's no line for it. There isn't even a line for it. You literally have to go into the store. Meanwhile, the B tiers, there is some support. You can go to the store, but the C tiers, you literally can't. There's nothing there. But back to the story, I told this woman, oh, this is the cheapest, this is what it does. And that's why I explained all this in general. And then that's what happened. Um, and they didn't buy anything from me because obviously I was at high tier, A tier. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Um, and they were looking for a good deal while being on the highest network. And I explained, like, this is the lowest you can get on our store highest network, and it's lower than all of the other guys that is on the highest network, the tier A, basically. And they're like, okay, and they walked away. And they're like, ah, frick. Like, man, I even showed them on the network, on the website, that they're the lowest. We're the lowest priced. It was literally by $2, but whatever. And it's like, man, I don't know why they didn't buy. I was literally the lowest. I showed them that I was the lowest priced. We're competitive, all the same rates, all the same features, and yet they didn't buy. And they're like, yeah. One of my coworkers was like, yeah, they didn't buy. So does it matter? Like, because I was just complaining about that point. So yeah, it's very, if tree falls in forest, does anyone hear it? Yeah, it's not. And it's kind of like, to go into the worst of everything, if someone, obviously, if someone dies, but it's not someone you know, do you care? It's a little dark, I understand, but do you care? No. One, you don't know about it. Two, you don't know them. Like, first of all, actually, is you don't know them, and two, you don't know about it. But if I said your neighbor died, oh, when did they die? No, because it hits kind of close to home, right? If your neighbor suddenly just left, right? If your neighbor is just gone, what do you do? Like, you're kind of scared. You feel kind of scared. Like, there is stuff that happens everywhere, constantly, and to say it doesn't happen is kind of disingenuous. But you don't have to pay attention to everything, because it's too much information. There's too much of things going around in the world, and you are trying to solve your own problems, live your own life. And if your neighborhood, for example, there was a shooting in your neighborhood, does it make it any more or less safe? And honestly, in my opinion, it makes it more safe, because now people are on high alert. And second of all, there are more cops in the area just because of what just happened. So if there was those kinds of things, I feel like it's safer. The only exception to that rule is if cops are constantly being called to this place, these things are constantly happening and whatnot, then okay, you're just at a bad quote unquote neighborhood, or a undesirable neighborhood, if I was going to be pedantic and try to use different wording, or unintrusive wording. But yes, no one's gonna care until something bad happens. So honestly, this is a very strawman argument, Oh, hello there, man. How's things? The build is going fine. What we just did was we're going through coats now at this point. We're trying the MX Browns again, because I remember it, quote unquote, being very, very bad. It's not that bad. It's hollow. I don't like the sound. It is much more flat than I'd like it to be. It's not very interesting. But it's not bad. It's not horrible. I don't hate it. It is just one of those few things where you go, oh, it's just worse than all of the new things combined is the problem. But yes, I was talking about, yeah, how if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it fall, does it make a sound or not? And yes, it does. It's just, well, I guess just different. But yeah, it still happens. It still falls, and it makes a sound. It's just no one's there to care about it. No one's there to listen to it. That's the only difference. If someone makes a movie and no one sees it, does the movie exist or not? There's a lot of people, even on YouTube, that just go, oh, make a video. If there's no point to it, there's no point to it. So that's what I'm trying to say with before Mint came in, where if your neighbor left and you didn't know about it until a couple months later, does it really matter that your neighbor left? It's just news that makes no difference in your life, right? So, not gonna do that. But yeah, that is iDiamond 3 Y MX Browns. The reason why I moved to MX Browns is just to test it out, because it's been about 5 years since I had Cherry MX Brown, so I wanted to compare it to the Switches I had at the start of stream, which was the Glorious Pandas, and these are the Zeal PC ones on my Mark 65, just to see how bad it was from before, because before everyone's like, oh, it's bad, it's not that great. It's one of those switches that it doesn't feel like it's a tactile switch just because the bump is not there if you strike the switch. It just feels like a scratchy switch. It doesn't actually feel quote unquote good, or you don't feel the tactility. And now there are switches like the Zeal PC and even worse. So no, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. If you are striking the switches, 100% it'll feel just like a scratch. It doesn't even register as a pebble. However, if you type lightly, kind of like this, it is noticeable. It's not a lot. If this is how I don't type like that. I'm just trying to simulate how someone would type like that. That. If you type like that, it's not great. But if you type fast and you strike the switches relatively hard, it becomes not as it becomes basically a scratchy linear switch. So it depends on how you type. So people who like MX Browns probably type really light. I don't know. I Diamond. You feel like in comparison with the new switches we are getting, especially how Preloop has become, the gap is probably greater, no? Do they exist? Do the tactile bumps exist? They exist. Yeah, the gap is greater. There are a lot of tactile switches. The most tactile switch I had is not just the Panda switches. The Zeal switches that I have on the Mark 65, these have a cleaner sound compared to this. Like, you can hear that. This is much cleaner. Just sound wise, it's much cleaner. Mind you, these, oh wait, no, they're both unlubed. So that versus, yeah, it does sound like a gaming keyboard, and that's where I originally came from. These are where these Cherry MX Browns came from. I actually tore apart my gaming keyboards just to get into the mechanical keyboard hobby, and I put in Zeal switches, the Zeal Silence, because I wanted to bring them into work. So I can show you real quick one of them. I haven't changed them since last stream, but as you can see here, this is an old gaming keyboard, a full-size one with some of the remnants of the Good and Blue Ducky keycaps. But basically, I brought this to work, and because it was so noisy as a gaming keyboard, I swapped the switches into Silence. These are Silence because they're from Zeal PC. Where's this? Yeah, I'm slapping on them so the mic can pick it up, but that's really hard to hear. Yeah, closer. Yeah, that's just so much different. But yes, gaming keyboards aren't actually that bad nowadays. It's just that I haven't actually gotten into the newer ones. And honestly, it's not that bad. I think with lubing these switches would be a little better. I think it's just not as interesting. It's not as clean as I'd like it to be, but it's not as bad as I remember it. The gap is much higher, and like I said, the Zeal PC would be just underneath where the Pandas are, and then above the Pandas are actually the Bad Seed Tactiles. The Bad Seed Tactiles I have in that camera over there, that dark blue where my finger's at. I do have them. They are out right now. They are pre-lubed, and they are much better than anything I've had. However, they are way too loud. You know? Isn't Zeal with cherry stems a really good silent combo? Zeal with cherry stems. I actually haven't tried Zeal with cherry stems, but yeah, no, I have Helios on this board. Let me just turn this off. So this is technically a silent keyboard. Yeah. Let me just slap on them. You hear me slapping on the keys more than you hear the keys itself. But yeah, the Zeal stuff, the reason I even went with Zeal stuff is because I live in Canada and Zeal is Canadian. As far as I'm aware. I don't know if they're just in Canada for manufacturing or whatnot, but it seems to be a Canadian company. because a lot of their stuff is based off of Canada and they sell in Canadian prices as well, not just US. Even back then, where it wasn't common to have a slider that says Canada, US. So yeah, I do use the silent switches just because I had to bring them to work, and the gaming keyboards sounded a lot like this. This is how they sounded. So that is pretty much what it is. And I was like, okay, this isn't bad. It doesn't feel bad. And for someone who's never had a, because I used to use chiclet switches on a laptop, a chiclet switches on at work, because what they provided me was, you know, those weird little Dell things. Ugh. It's weird. MX Zeals are totally a thing. I want to search that because I'm pretty sure that's a very different thing. Um, MX Zeals, MX Zeals. Yeah, no, they're V2 switches, Zeal generation. Yeah, they're Xylent tactiles is what they have. So this guy here, it's a little cut off. Yeah, yes, I understand. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of switches because when I got into the hobby at the first time, I think the Xylents and the Zelios were one of the switches that came out recently, and that's what I swapped into my gaming boards. So I had to desolder and resolder them on, and then I decided not to put the brackets and pipe. I was wrong. I used pipe way more just because I had to do a little bit of programming, and pipe was relatively useful. So I hit it more than I thought I would, and backspace. But yeah, I think that Cherry MX Browns, you can feel the tactile bump if you are typing lightly, but not if you are striking the keyboard and hitting them relatively fast. Okay. Gateron Alias Housing and MX Silent Stem. I see, I see. Isn't the Alias... last I've heard of the Alias, they are overpriced. However, I have not tried the Alias, so I wouldn't know. Unfortunately. But yeah, no, I'm getting back into the whole keyboard switches and stuff, and I'm looking around. The only other thing that the only other thing I'm thinking about is looking at the new Akko switches just to see what they have, because they do have silent offerings as well. Oh, just made your first ever mechanical keyboard today, and any chance you could send you a sound test? I mean, I don't know if links are available in the chat at the moment, but I can double check here. Settings. Because I used to work some security jobs, and just randomly sending links, it's one of those things where just clicking on links is not a good idea. You kind of have to search. But if you have, for example, a YouTube video on it, if you haven't uploaded it on YouTube or anything, yeah. So if you just have the file, I would suggest uploading it, because there are a lot of creators on every platform where they just have the sound test. If you have the sound test, even if you don't have the video for it, you can just put a picture up or just record yourself doing the test. Just push it out there, and then you can showcase it online, and that's fine. Where they do relatively well. If someone's searching for a very specific keyboard with a very specific switch, and that is the combo they believe would sound good and feel good for them, they will be searching for that just in case. And who knows, you might get views from it. It might be a hobby that you have. For example, like this. I stream me just going through doing keyboard chores and stuff. And it's fun-ish. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I do have fun. I do like it. But at the same time, it's kind of work, because I don't just do the typing. I don't do just the testing. But I have to remove all of these switches. For example, the MX Pandas, oops, the Glorious Pandas, just to test out the MX Browns. So it's just one of those things where you have to do the work to be able to even test things, right? So yeah, upload it and give me the title, because I don't really want to be clicking links currently unless it's vetted, and I don't really exactly have mods with a PC set up so that if it does get hit by a virus, it'll, you know, what is it called? we can just wipe it and stuff. I'm relatively new to this stuff, in other words. So. It's one of those things. But yeah, if you have the title for it, that makes it easily searchable. I could definitely take a look at it and even showcase it if need be. But yeah, so when I got into the hobby, the Xylants were one of the silent options that I was the most aware of. Therefore, that's what I kept it going. So yeah, I don't hate it. It definitely sounds like a gaming keyboard. Okay, Royal Kludge. Oh, a Royal Kludge. Gazoo Violet LT. Gazoo Violet. Okay, because I know the Gazoo Bobas. They're the more famous one. Okay. I can give that a quick check here. So if it is, let me give that a listen to. See how that is. Actually, I can use this board. YouTube is a thing. Okay. What is it called? Copy paste. I can copy paste. Oh jeez. Or not, apparently, because I have the whole streamer thing and it just gives me options instead of being able to click on anything. Okay, let me just real quick search that for you. God, this angle for typing is horrible. Boba, oh, not Boba. Okay, LT. And was this done quite recently? Royal Kludge. Royal Kludge Gazoo. Violet LT. Specifically videos. Types and types. Consumer tech review. Yeah, no, it looks like the one. Less than a minute ago. Okay. Alright. Let's see filters. Today. Literally 2 minutes ago. Okay, fine. Let's listen. Okay. That's clean. All right. Yeah, that was clean. That was very, very clean. Okay. And that was a Royal Kludge. Those are, as far as I know, the Royal Kludge. Dog is snoring in the background. I kind of figured it's some sort of pet. It is one of those things. But yeah, it is that is actually really clean. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not too sure because I haven't really touched as much on those Royal Kludges. But those are called budget stuff. But of course, the MK65 is technically budget. But because I've modded mine because mine literally has, what is it called? Foam backing, not foam, cotton backing. I keep calling it foam. The effect is effectively foam, but it's a lot different. It's similar to what you would say a regular gaming keyboard. But because of, I think earlier when I was using the glorious pandas, it sounded better without the silicone backing. But I think we can try one more time. We'll do it with the silicone insert instead of the cotton insert in the back of the NK65. So let's do that real quick. And see where we go. Alright, let's put this aside for now. Put this over here. Yeah. And we can pull out this. So we're gonna actually try and test this with the silicone insert. the Q2 for $70. Just waiting for that. Yeah, that keyboard hobby, man. Well, I mean, any tech hobby. Once you buy something, something new will always come out. That is the fallacy. That is the rule of thumb. Just expect something new to come out that is totally gonna trump whatever you just bought. That is tech in general. Never ever expect, oh, I'll just have all my stuff and it'll be great and it'll be like the best thing for the next year. No. No, that's not how that works. It'll show you. How dare you think we can't get any better? And I tend to do that, where I would actually have a lot of, how do you say it? I would have a lot of tech, and I would buy a lot of tech. You can just see my wall. That side, not this side. You can just see my wall. I buy a lot of tech. I just don't expect to have, what is it called? I don't expect to have the best at any given moment, just because the best keeps going by so fast, whatever that is. And I'm one of those people. I don't subscribe to the notion that price to performance ratio is a real thing, because price to performance just throws out the fact that some people make more than others. It just throws it out completely. It looks like a good number when some people go, oh yeah, it's X number, which is small compared to X performance, and sure, yeah, that's a great metric. However, that assumes what's it called? That assumes that everyone is getting paid the same, you know? And not everyone's getting paid the same. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I go, oh yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same thing. I would not see that as the same thing. When I had so much money, I kept buying things, you know? But when I don't have enough money, guess what? I don't buy anything. I don't care if it's $50. It's $50 that could go to food. You know? So it depends on what you're making and whether it's useful for you. And some people go, I need a keyboard. And I know I've recommended to my friends a $30 Logitech keyboard for $30, you know, regular price, just because he needs a keyboard because his broke for work. $30, has a trackpad and all that. It's a cheap Logitech item that it's wireless. He can bring it to work. If he loses it or he breaks it, it's easily replaceable. And I'm not gonna recommend him even a $70 keyboard that is mechanical, because one, it's big and bulky, as you can see here. This is literally about almost an inch and a half of space. Meanwhile, the keyboard I recommended him, because it's going to be used for work, is thin. It's about as thick as a screwdriver shaft. It's not, because it's not worth it. You don't want to do that for work. Meanwhile, when I had work and I had to do work like that, yeah, I just went with the mechanical keyboard that I would like. Yeah. Started watching key videos 3 years ago, never expecting I would get a custom keyboard, being a broke high schooler. Yes. Yeah, that is the thing. But if you really want something and you really set your sights on it, the difference is the time it would take for you to get to what you have. Like, a lot of people would see my wall of headphones and go, oh my god, you must be rich sometimes. Not all the time, like, wow, to be able to afford all these things. No, I bought each of these in different years. I did not buy these, even these headphones. I did not buy this all in one go. So yeah, even as a quote-unquote broke high school kid, you can have so many things. I think there was a TikTok. Was it a TikTok? I can't remember. A TikTok going around of this streamer complaining about this kid with a sick setup, like a really sick setup. RGB, everything, high-end, relatively high-end looking specs. And he was complaining, look, to be a this guy's not even a streamer, bro, and whatnot. And he was complaining, you don't need any of that stuff. And yeah, you're right. That high school kid did not need any of the stuff. He enjoys it. He likes it looking clean. And that other streamer was complaining, oh my god, you don't need that stuff to be a streamer. Like, is he even a streamer, bro? And then he shows his dirty room, which is literally disgusting. And by disgusting, I mean disgusting. There is, I don't know, various random bottles on the floor, fast food containers, and just basically gross. I don't think the guy even owns a trash can, kind of gross. And yeah, the kid's literally under 20. And heck, there are bosses out there I'm aware of, completely aware of. There are bosses out there that are 20. So I don't see why, like, so yeah, even as a student, it's not that expensive to buy one nice thing a year. Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize, the way I used my money, or still use my money today, is I cut it into 3 parts. The first part, and this is unsolicited advice to a lot of people, but the first part is your monthly bills, your recurring bills, the bills that you have to pay, period. Food, rent, etc. Stuff like that. And the remainder, if you have remainder, it doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $20, 10 cents. But the remainder, I cut into half. One half goes into savings. That is for the future. That is in case I get hit by a truck and I can pay for medical bills. That is also just in case I wanted to buy something really, really big, like a house, or I wanted to go on a really long vacation. That is the thing. But regardless, if let's say you have $5 every month, that's all you got extra every month. A lot of people just spend it on a McDonald's. A lot of people just spend it on something else. But if you spend it, or if you save it, if you have it, you don't have to just spend that money. You can just let it sit there. So eventually the so in a year, so 5 times 12, that's $60. So a $70 item or $60 item is within reach. You can just buy that, and then you don't have to buy that specific thing till the next year. One of the one of the saving things that I do, and I got into a hobby of making good coffee, is what saves me money. And the problem with stuff like that is a lot of the time you need capital to be able to save money. But that also means you have to withhold yourself from spending that money in the first place. So in general, I know a cup at, let's say, Starbucks. A cup at Starbucks is $5 for coffee. Okay, so another bad addiction, coffee enjoyer. Yes, so I go to Tim's. I used to go to Tim's constantly. I realize I'm spending about $4 for a cup of coffee. And this is one thing you can actually do. Okay, see, this sounds less like a gaming keyboard now, just by putting a silicone insert. So NK65, if anyone is just looking for a budget-ish keyboard that sounds good, apparently the Royal Clutch is great. Oh, just getting espresso machine. Yeah. And anyone looking to save money they've always heard the adage of, oh, coffee is $5, assuming it's $5 a day, just cut off coffee and all of a sudden and we're gonna be realistic here, right? Let's open up a calculator. So that's $5 a day, and there's roughly 4 weeks in a month, roughly. So we're gonna go estimates here, but that's 4 times 5 because there's so 4 times 5 is 20, so that's 20. So that's 20 work days. That's assuming that you only drink coffee when you go to work, right? So that's 20 times in a month, roughly. That's not an exact estimate, but roughly 20 times. So that's times, let's say, if it's Starbucks, that's $5. That is $100 a month. You are spending $100 a month just to get coffee. Now, here's the sad part. You can have your coffee, okay, and still save money. And all you have to do is not go to Starbucks. You can go to Tim Hortons, who sells, again, 20, and instead of $5, it's $4 per coffee times 4. That's $80. You save $20 just by going to Tim Hortons. So there are multiple ways to save money and still get what you want. The switches and keycaps are $100 alone. No, I know. In this hobby, the keyboard can be the cheapest thing, but if you change the switches and keycaps, it changes a lot. And even just what I just did earlier. I changed from a cotton infill to a silicone filler, and all of a sudden, it sounds a bit better. It's not massively better compared to all of the gaming keyboards, but it's better than gaming keyboards. Let's give it a test. We'll talk about a quote as well. We'll give it a test. Let's go here. Up, up. All right. Oh no, a Wall Street coat. Okay. Let's see if I can arrange myself. Here. Ooh. That's some neck cracks. All right, let's see if we can hit 75 words per minute. It's one of those things, I can't hit 75 words per minute in quote. However, my friend literally in 4 months came from 45 words per minute in quotes to 85. And here I am struggling to get 75 after years. All right, let's see what I can do. So again, this is the NK65, right? With glorious, what's it called? This guy. Glorious GPBT premium keycaps with the rainforest color scheme. And Cherry MX Browns. So these are regular Cherry MX Browns with the silicone insert. Because earlier we were in the... What's it called? I keep messing this up. It's called cotton. It's cotton. It's polyester and or cotton. This insert. This was the insert I used. All right. Now it is the big floppy silicone piece. It's a lot more solid, therefore it sounds a little bit better than it was with this. However, I was using the glorious pandas earlier, and this sounded better, and this sounded way too sharp when it had the silicone insert. This being sharper is nice. Switching to mechanical is a big change. Yes. Oh yeah, that's where I started. I started on a laptop, and mechanical is completely different. Feels completely different, but there is a way to mimic that if you really wanted to. All right, let's go to the quote first. Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah, I seem to be getting that number a lot for words per minute. Unfortunately. But yeah, all right. So the Wall Street Shuffle. Looks like this is actually a song, not an actual Wall Street quote. But yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what the Cherry MX Browns sounds like. So that's why I went back to the Cherry MX Browns, because I want to know if it was that bad. But yes, typing wise, it's not that bad. It feels like a scratchy linear switch if you're typing the way I type, but if you're typing lightly, you definitely feel that there is a nice tactile bump to it. So this is for light typers. If you're a light typist, this is fine. The Cherry MX Browns feel fine. However, if you are a heavy typist, the Cherry MX Browns aren't that great. Okay, but let's talk about the quote for a little bit here. All right. You've got to be cool on Wall Street when your index is low. Dow Jones ain't got times for the bums. So Dow Jones, I think Dow Jones is a stock of some sort. I'm not aware, unfortunately. They wind up on Skid Row with holes in their pockets, so I guess it's not doing well. They plead with you. Buddy, can you spare the dime? Oh, Was I not hitting the correct key? Okay, I wasn't hitting correct. I hit the colon, not the quote. All right, buddy, can you spare the dime? But you ain't got the time. So yeah, it's very work ethic type of thing where a lot of stockbrokers and a lot of people go through their day as in a hurry as much as possible, where they don't have the time to do anything, even help other people. But you know, to me, giving money to homeless people, um, I don't know. I've seen way too many homeless people. That's kind of weird. I used to work with this restaurant, and what happened was a homeless person actually came in, and they asked for what's it called? They asked for a what's it? They asked for some food. So they went to a restaurant to ask for something. Well, I wonder what. They asked for some food, and sure enough, they're like, "Oh, the homeless person." So the staff kind of wanted to give it to someone. So we were closing up for breakfast anyways, so we were gonna throw out a couple things, mainly the French toast items and stuff like that. And they were getting a little old, but you know they're more than edible. They're fine. They aren't the best. So they gave him basically French toast and some pancakes. And this homeless person decides to give it back because there were no eggs in it. A homeless person sent back a free meal because it was missing eggs. I don't even know how that is possible. I don't even know why that even happened. But I was there. I was physically there when this actually happened. So, are you homeless or not, buddy? Like, what do you want? Apparently, he wanted eggs with his free meal. There's no free lunch, they said. They try anyways. But yes, it is one of those things where it does happen. And yeah, when you try to help someone, I believe that if you are going to help someone or feel sorry for someone, it's better to be able to help and feel sorry for someone that you personally know at the very least. And if you have the bandwidth to help extra people along the way, that's fine too. But a lot of times, a lot of people, me included, um, we don't have the bandwidth to help everyone in the world because there's way too many people out there. So the best thing you can do is try to help the people that you are close to, the people that you care about as much as possible. But of course, take care of yourself first. But you know, as they say here, they plead with you, buddy, can you spare the dime? But you ain't got the time. So if you don't have time for yourself, if you were going to become that homeless person in an attempt to help someone, do not help them. I understand it feels bad that you are not able to help this person that you care about. However, you have to care about yourself more. So, of course, there's a balance to it. But if you don't have the time to help other people or help yourself, sorry, if you don't have the time to help yourself first because you need it way, way, way more. And then when your friend needs it, hopefully you have picked yourself up high enough to be able to help other people. So that's what I kind of try to get out of this. I try to be a little philosophical with these quotes, but you know, it's literally a quote from the Wall Street Shuffle, which is what seems like either a song or whatnot. So, all right. It has been, oh, it's been over 3 hours. Normally I would end stream by hour three, but let us go through one more quote and then one more test in time, 30 seconds, just to give it a go. All right, let's give this a shot. Yeah, there you go. Mastering computer typing from 1995. Okay. All right. Let's see this quote. All right. Even the best designed chair won't make up for bad posture. Bad posture is the root of many physical problems. Sit upright and don't slouch. Your back should be straight to support the upper part of your body. Okay. But yeah, I agree with that, honestly. You can buy the most ergonomic chair, and if you still slouch in said ergonomic chair, this is an ergo chair. I'm sitting on what is effectively an ergo chair. And it's a more, it fits my viewpoints kind of chair. I guess I can show it here. So let me take off the jacket. Where's the hanger? Okay, so this chair, I'm gonna lift it a little bit, is kind of weird. This is the back of the chair, as you can see. This is the seat. It's kind of like a horse saddle. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was not intentional. I thought horse, and then I snagged my cable with one of the chair legs. Okay, so yeah, this is an ergonomic chair, and its purpose is not to be the most comfortable seat. This can stay comfortable, but you have to move around a little bit, and you have to be on its edge. So it doesn't allow you to stay in a specific position for so long without being too uncomfortable, but it can let you, how do I say it? It doesn't let you stay in a unergonomic position and be comfortable. So if I was sitting here, what happens is, because of the seat being like a saddle, it kind of rides up my crotch a little too much and puts pressure on it. So if I sit upright, it's supporting me perfectly, or just enough to be comfortable. But if I start slouching, I start putting pressure on my thighs. So because of the saddle seat, it starts putting pressure on my thighs, which makes it uncomfortable to slouch. So this chair, it's called the Hag Capisco, for those who are kind of interested. The Hag Capisco, it actually promotes good posture just because of the way it's designed. So if you want to back stretch, you can do that, because the arm, the back, you guys here, the back, you can stretch, as you can see. I hope you guys can see. I can't see if the camera sees that. But yeah, it's called a Hag Capisco. It is relatively expensive. I do not recommend it for those who just need a chair. It's not a thing. But you can stretch, and it promotes good posture just by being uncomfortable every time you kind of sit in a weird angle. So I can't even do this without feeling uncomfortable after 5 minutes. I can't lean on a table. That's why it makes it the chair that I wanted to buy. Purely because it just, how do I say it? It just promotes good posture. So I haven't had, because I used to have back issues too. But of course, if you have other back issues, I don't know if it's gonna help with your specific back issues. But yes, even the best designed chair won't make up, going by the quote, sorry. Even the best designed chair won't make up for bad posture. Here's the best designed chair that makes up for bad posture, and that's its entire purpose. Its entire purpose is to try and make up for bad posture. It's going to be just uncomfortable enough every time you're in a bad posture position. Bad posture is the root of many physical problems. I have mistyped that by accident. The root of many physical problems. So sit upright and don't slouch. Your back should be straight to support the upper part of your body. There you go. Awesome, Diamond Tree. Just hop off the bed, have a nice sleep. You're tired as fuck. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. You have a nice one and sleep well. Right. Okay. Yeah, so sit upright and don't slouch. Yes, you don't have to slouch. And yeah, just make sure your posture is up. And if you're having problems trying to sit up, just pretend you're puffing out your chest a little bit. That's all you kind of have to do. If you're on a chair, try to sit as comfortable as possible, as many 90 degrees as possible, as many 90 degrees sections as you believe. And then just sit with your chest a little puffed out, not all the way out. Like, don't arch your back, but your chest a little puffed out, and then your elbows, there you go, at a 90 degree. Like, obviously rested at your side, but at a 90 degree. So you're just there, 90 degrees. This is gonna be it. You hold it, and try to remember that position. And every time you move, you can even set up timers. My suggestion is every 20 minutes. That way you check yourself 3 times an hour, every 20 minutes, that you aren't slouching. Sure, you're gonna slouch a little bit, that is the thing. But if you want to look proud or just have a better back posture, just puff your chest out a little bit. And every time, just a little bit. Not a lot. Just sit upright, puff your chest out a little bit, and you're gonna have a better posture in general. So check yourself a little 20 minutes. If you have a smartwatch, I do, you can just set a timer for 20 minutes. And that should be okay. And if you have a smartwatch, remember to charge it, because mine's dead. Anyway. The one thing about smartwatches that I don't like, it is not a great... It's not a great experience. Okay, the moment we get smartwatches that last 1 week, that's when it becomes good. That's when I believe it's great. However, there aren't many of those. The best ones last 5 days. So once we get to the 1 week mark, that's when smartwatches are totally worth the buy. But right now, they're good. Just get a regular watch. Unless you're okay with charging this thing constantly, just don't bother. Don't bother. Just don't. Okay, so that's it. That's one of the things. We are going to do one more typing test, and then we're gonna call it a day. But this time we are just gonna go time. That way you know what it sounds like, the Cherry MX Browns on an NK65. All right, last typing test of the day. 30 seconds. NK65 with the silicone insert, Cherry MX Browns unlubed, and the glorious keycap set, GPBT. All right, looks like I was able to get an 84 words per minute, and that is decent for me. And here we go. Raw 120 is my highest burst speed. Looks like it. I was able to sustain something around 104 for a little bit, but I did make way too many mistakes to be able to hold it at that level. All right, but yes, again, those were the Cherry MX Browns unlubed on the NK65 with the glorious GPPT keycaps. And tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lubing these switches and testing it. So it's going to be a shorter stream than today. And normally I would stream for about 2 to 3 hours instead of the 3.5 that we're doing today. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to be taking this apart. I might bring out the silicone insert because we're just going to be lubing. So, lubing the Cherry MX Browns, testing them again on the NK65, and we should be good. Alright, make sure to follow if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're looking for more keyboard content, I do this every Monday and Tuesday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, or 1600. Not 1600, sorry. 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 1900 Pacific Standard Time. For 2.5 hours. Of course, have a nice one. And, oh, right, Wednesdays, or maybe later, we'll see. I'll be doing Apex streams as well. And, no, Apex streams later tonight, hour later. But the Mario Kart streams, we're going to be doing no mushroom runs. It's going to be on no mushroom time trial runs is going to be on Wednesday. I really should write this down, though. It's a little easier for me to recall. All right. Have a nice one, everyone. Have a nice one. Yeah. Everyone, have a nice one.